any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
After damning politicians uphill and down dale for many years as rogues, vagabonds, frauds, and scoundrels, I sometimes suspected, like everyone else, I often expect too much of them.
You know, they used to say Abraham Lincoln got the worst press. I said, there's no way he got worse than me.
Anyway, I am very willing to let the American public judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness.
Fat broads and horse-faced lesbians.
Shut up, silly woman.
I like to do it at night when people aren't around.
Stop playing with it.
This afternoon, we've seen a whole lot of table banging.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy?
I got hairy legs.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into News and Views. In the afternoon, I'm your host, Joey Clark, and, well, the future is continuing to look bright. We got a busy week this week, and, no Eddie today, but he'll be in some days this week. Sky Mosley is here with me. Hey, Sky, how you doing?
I'm doing a little better, Joey. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, I know you've been through it, man. Have you talked publicly about what you were going through?
No, nobody.
And you don't want to?
Care about me on the other show, you know.
Do you want to? Like, what happened?
There I was doing my job Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
Everything. We was going to Capital Oyster Bar for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Big deal. Bomb hours that night.
Right.
About 11:15 a.m. I'm just shivering and shaking in here.
Oh no, folks.
Yeah.
And what did they diagnose you with?
Turned out I had almost 103 degree temperature.
I'm not going to give your exact age, but that's a high fever. You're not an infant.
Yeah, it's a little scary.
Wow.
Anyway, walking pneumonia.
Oh.
So.
Well, I'm glad you're getting better, but that's just
they
miserable.
Shot me full of antibiotics.
So I'm assuming you didn't go see any movies this weekend.
I didn't do much.
You didn't go see the Barbie movie?
That's on my list.
It is on your list. You're going to go see Oppenheimer?
I would love to see Oppenheimer, actually.
I went and watched Oppenheimer.
What'd you think?
I thought it was fantastic. Now, it's not one of those movies where you're like, oh, it's a popcorn flick, Marvel movie, or even Mission Impossible, Top Gun style thing.
Documentary, isn't
it? Yes, it's a biographical film that's 3 hours, that's rated R, and that brings up very intense moral questions about not only creating the bomb, but the use of it going forward, as well as they do a good job of nesting it in with the political ambitions and political climbing and backstabbing that goes on, even back then in those serious times. So the movie is wrapped together quite well. Now, they do go a long way, though, trying to say Oppenheimer was no communist. Well, he was friends with a lot of communists. The movie does showcase that, but he always maintained, well, I'm not actually a true card-carrying member. I didn't realize that Stalin and the party was so bad. So it does perpetuate sort of how bad the McCarthy era was. They even took down old Oppenheimer. But I thought it was a brilliant movie in terms of you get into his psychology and you feel the unease of, well, what he was going through before and after they created the bomb. And they did a spectacular job of putting you in the room. That first test in Los Alamos, where they're sitting there getting prepared, like they've got the different lenses to watch the explosion through. They've been doing different tests on, okay, is this actually going to work? And there is a non-zero chance, very unlikely, but they're sitting there going, there's a non-zero chance that actually what we're about to do is the atomic chain reaction will destroy the entire planet. It won't stop within the bomb we've just created. Right. And it was such a non-zero chance that this sort of gallows humor, they were taking side bets on whether or not they would destroy the whole Earth in doing this. Of course, they didn't.
But
we're still here.
There was a very real possibility that this possibility.
Right. Well, here's the deal. I think Oppenheimer started to realize, okay, we didn't blow up the entire world with our test at Los Alamos. But now that these weapons are in the hands of human beings who want power, want control, who are very emotional creatures, he's worried, well, maybe I didn't stop that chain reaction after all.
I've always heard that part of the mindset was this would stop all wars.
Yes, that was his argument.
No more point in military.
That's how he justified it to himself initially, saying that this would stop. You would use it once, and it would be so awful. People would just stop having wars. Well, as we're flirting with thermonuclear war right now with the Ruskies, yeah, we're really not out of the woods. And then don't get me started on, like, say, the Pakistanis and the Indians. It's just over the top right now. But Oppenheimer was the movie I chose to go see. I did not go see the Barbie movie. But the big story is that Barbenheim actually looks like it might save Hollywood, or at least give Hollywood a shot in the arm that people still want to go to movies. And it wasn't Oppenheimer that topped the box office. I have to admit, what topped the box office, biggest opening weekend in a long, long time, was the Barbie movie. Now, I did not go see it because, honestly, I had things to do. And I read some reviews, and I realized, just for me personally, I probably am not going to like this steaming pile of horse crap. That said, I might go see it later just so I can actually be informed and make my own decision on what I think of the movie. That said, I think it was driven by 65% of the attendance was women. In particular, a lot of moms taking their daughters and, dressing up like Barbie and getting involved in all that. There are, of course, some more conservative folks saying this movie is a pile of steaming horse crap. Just mountains and mountains of it, that it's incoherent. And then I watch other folks who are liberals who would be, let's say, more willing to accept the movie's messages. But as a movie goes, I heard the knock is that it's a little heavy-handed. And it's not, it's the, like, scene production and all that sort of thing. Like, the set production's amazing and all that. But this idea that this was like a spectacular, I want to see if it has legs going into next weekend. Because from my sense of this movie, it's not some fun mother-daughter movie, unless we're at a different stage.
Sounds a little intelligent for the modern movie-going audience. 3 hours?
There were a lot, though, of a lot of people that went to see it. And I think it really is down to, it was a masterful marketing campaign on both movies, and then putting the two movies together saying, Barbenheim, go see both this weekend. I think it really did put that over the top.
Bit of a contrast in the two. But,
So it didn't just work. This is from the AP. It struck box office gold. Warner Brothers Barbie claimed the top spot with a massive $155 million in ticket sales from North American theaters. A little over 4,200 locations, surpassing the Super Mario Brothers movie, as well as every other Marvel movie this year, as the biggest opening of the year and breaking the first weekend record for a film directed by a woman.
Oh, that's important.
Universal's Oppenheimer also soared past expectations, making $80.5 million at around 3,600 theaters in the U.S. The one that got really hurt, even though it's gotten good reviews, is Mission Impossible. Actually, Mission Impossible, I think it got 19-something. It lost to Sound of Freedom again. Number 3 this weekend was Sound of Freedom, which is now raked in about $125 million in total.
In selected theaters.
Right, it's a massive return because, I mean, that movie didn't take that much to make.
Of course.
But I will say that Oppenheimer is one to go see. It's one to go see on a big screen. I went to an IMAX screening of it, and it's not going to be like a feel-good movie, but it is one that will make you think, that'll make you kind of dive deep into the psychology of those people at that time. Remarkable film.
Do they address the question, should we have done this? Or
Oh, yeah. It's thread throughout the whole thing. Yeah, they had to, but do we really need to have to? Then it gets into the whole McCarthy area with the communist, the communist infiltration was a real thing. I think Joseph McCarthy actually went off the rails when he started accusing Ike of being soft on commies. It wasn't anything else. It was more, he had a backing. It's just like Richard Nixon. What did he out? Alger Hiss? And Nixon was incredibly popular for it, but the left never forgave him. So McCarthy's actually seeing that, going, well, if I go after commies, I'll be popular. And it was true for a little while. Absolutely. It's why it became the McCarthy era. But when he accused Eisenhower of being soft on commies, that's when his base, his people turned on him, and then he was free to be eaten up by the folks that always wanted to get them. But yeah, it's a fascinating film. I would encourage anybody who's interested in that period in time to go check it out. Let's go to Red Top on the phone. Hey, Red Top.
Hey, buddy. You know, Oppenheimer got Nobel syndrome, so to speak, after Alfred Nobel created invented dynamite.
Right.
He started to realize what the hell he does.
That's actually part of the movie. They make a reference to that.
Oh, very good. That's very, very good connection because it's so realistic. And, Oppenheimer scared, that first test scared the crap out of him.
Yes. Well, and then when they used he realized, he thought that they wouldn't have to use it that much, that you could just showcase this. He also wanted to just show a test and scare the crap out of everybody, but that's not the way the world went. We got into the H-bomb arms race and the super project and all that stuff.
And you can test what year I was born, thanks to Mr. Oppenheimer and his whole group. By all they got to do is DNA sample me, and they can test what year I was born by the level of radiation in my system.
Wow.
People from the 50s like me, we were exposed to 800 above-ground nuclear tests.
Wow, okay, yeah.
And that's your dad, too.
Yeah.
What's your dad, 66?
No, he's a 60.
Oh, damn.
Or maybe 61 now, I don't know.
Lord have mercy, damn! I'm older than every damn body. I'm the oldest person on the block now, and it's, Joey, get ready. But it's fun having your seniority because people will actually listen to you.
And I can say back to you, it's fun having my youth.
Ain't no doubt about it, man. I've enjoyed it all the way. This is beside the point. Did you happen to see the Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga concert at Carnegie Hall? Any of it on TV?
I didn't watch any this weekend. I've seen it's fairly old, right? So I've seen clips of that before.
Yes. Oh, Joey, that minimum 100-piece orchestra behind them. Whoa! And if you get to see it again, look at that string bass. It is a full scale. That's a size bigger than mine, and I had to take my damn ceiling fan down. It's so tall because I broke the light kit in my ceiling fan. But it's so big that actually the top of the body of the string bass is at your shoulder, and you got to reach up above your head to play the first notes on the damn thing. So I'm still stunned because now I have a musical instrument that's bigger than me. It's not a piano. At least I can move the damn thing. But Joey, you can't walk through a doorway with one of those things. You better turn it sideways.
There you
Roll
go.
Tide, Joe Trump. Thank you, guys.
Well, it's always a odd day to begin a show when somebody's talking about how big their base is. 272-9228. This is part of the program. Well, brought to you by XI Repair. And there at XI Repair, Jonathan Strange and his team. It was great seeing Jonathan on Friday in here. But Jonathan and the team he's put together at XI Repair can help you with all those basic smartphone repairs. Of course, there's that always feared cracked screen. Maybe you drop it on the parking lot pavement or in the bathroom or something, and it shatters. You think, I've got to get a new phone. No. XI Repair can fix it, and usually in under 30 minutes for a very reasonable fee. Depends on your model, how much it'll cost, but it's always a lot less than a brand new phone. They can also help you maybe got a dirty port. That means you're not going to be able to charge well, or your speakers might be clogged. Could be you dropped it in the toilet or fell in the pool or the lake or the beach or something with the phone in your pocket. Nice. You've got that water damage. XI Repair can fix it. They can also sell you brand new smartphones or refurbished older models at incredible prices for some of these top-end smartphones. Lots of options there. And, of course, they can do work on desktop computers, laptop computers, data recovery. Say you accidentally delete a big project that you've been working on and you didn't have it backed up. Or it could be your soon-to-be ex-husband, that bastard. He tried to delete incriminating text messages. And you've got him dead to rights because XI Repair can recover that text message.
Good to know.
So check them out today. You can always go to xirepair.com. That's the letter X, letter I, repair.com. Or you can always call them at 777-1234. Simple enough, right? 777-1234. And be sure to tell them, that you heard about them here on News and Views in the afternoon with Joey. Mention Sky for bonus points.
Please do.
More News and Views in the afternoon when we come back.
may not know whether he's coming or going. But whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Hi, Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group. How to finance your next home. Many people that could qualify and afford a home sometimes stay on the sidelines and rent versus buying, or delay moving up to a bigger, nicer home because of financing. The first fear first-home homebuyers have is the concern about down payment needed to buy a home. Well, the good news is the state of Alabama has many different programs to help enable first-time homebuyers to buy a home with very little down payment through the Alabama Home Finance Authority. Third, veterans, active duty personnel, National Guardsmen have the VA that can help them buy with no money down and with reasonable rates. Also, many local lenders have in-house programs and conventional type loans that help people get into a house now. If you wait to buy a house for a lower rate, the prices of homes, even modest homes, have seen price increases every year for the last 3 years. For all the details, call Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group at 221-2883.
Hey, this is Benji with Marguerite's. The great thing about gold and diamonds is that we can make a ring that you have wore for 20 years look like the day you bought it. For example, if you have a white gold ring or rings that you have worn for some years, you can take it to a jewelry store and they will charge $150 to $250 to re-rhodium, polish, and clean your rings to get that look. You ask, what is rhodium? Rhodium is a very expensive, precious metal that jewelers use to coat white gold rings to make them extremely light, of course, to make them look brand new again. Marguerite's has decided to brighten your summer with the complimentary rhodium and polish of your rings. As of today, until August the 5th, August the 5th will be here before you know it. Bring in all your rings at Marguerite's. We will rhodium them at no charge whatsoever. So don't miss out on this great deal because at Marguerite's, of course, we make it. We really make it. We're open 7 days a week for your convenience. For all your jewelry needs, we are located at 8163 Vaughn Road in the Preparatory Shopping Center. So come see us at Marguerite's. Let us make all your rings look like the day you bought them.
Visit Marguerite's now through August 5th for your complimentary rhodium and polish.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
I'm Cam Marston. My radio show and podcast called What's Working with Cam Marston focuses on the workplace, workforce, and marketplace trends shaping Alabama business. My guests tell their stories and discuss their business expertise in such a way that you and I can learn from them and apply it to our own world. Listen to What's Working with Cam Marston each Saturday at noon right here on News Talk 93.1.
Trustworthy, accurate, immediate. Carrying your voice across the river region. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. No Eddie today, but Sky Mosley is keeping me company here for a little while. Tell us about the Alabama Gazette before we forget, Sky.
Oh, yes, the Alabama Gazette is your hometown conservative newspaper. They've been serving Central Alabama proper over 23 years now out of beautiful downtown Montgomery, the Alabama Gazette, always published under the banner of God, family, and country, and they've never failed to live up to those ideals. Pro-life, pro-family, pro-America, that's the Alabama Gazette, and currently I cannot offer you a subscription. No, because the Alabama Gazette, the good news is they're hiring. Looking for, anybody could do general office work, right? But primarily in search of a print layout artist. That's what we need at the Alabama Gazette. Take down this number, 657-7736. 657-7736, the Alabama Gazette. An excellent employment opportunity, particularly for someone who is an aspiring writer. You'll get your material looked at, perhaps even published in the Gazette. Print layout artist, salespeople eventually, and office help right now. 657-7736. The Alabama Gazette is hiring.
Appreciate it, Sky. And I don't know if you saw it, but the Alabama legislature and Governor Ivey signed it, but they passed this new map for congressional districts after that surprise Supreme Court ruling. And now some of the Democrats are just so upset.
It's a howling going on.
Oh, they're like, wait, the court told you have to do another minority-majority district. And, well, the Republicans are arguing, no, that's not what they argued. Is it just a bit more proportional? And Nancy Pelosi, she crawled out of her cocoon, and she said, I am not going to let this stand. Terri Sewell is an old friend. Now, as far as Democrats go, Terri Sewell's pretty great. I like Terri. I've met her, and she's been on the show before, actually. We have our disagreements, but I like Terri Sewell. That said, these districts, the redrawing of them, in order to put 40% of the population as black, as African-American, they had to take some from Terri Sewell's district, which I don't know all the exact numbers off the top of my head, but it was something like a ridiculous, majority. It was almost a sure thing for her, especially as an incumbent. But now with these new maps they proposed, Nancy Pelosi, like I said, has come out of her cocoon, and she went on State of the Union on CNN. Are people still watching these Sunday talk shows? Anybody?
Not so much.
Do you? You don't?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I used to watch them.
I shot my television, Joey.
Yeah, you're a smart man. But since the state legislature adjourned its special session last week, reactions to Alabama's redrawn district map have varied along party lines, with many Democrats, like U.S. Representative Nancy Pelosi, calling it, quote-unquote, ridiculous and a violation of the U.S. Supreme Court's order to add another black majority district. Hey, let's listen in together, shall we? Let's see how this interview went. And Nancy's lucid.
Welcome back to State of the Union. You just heard from the highest-ranking Republican on Capitol Hill on January 6th. Now let's hear from the leading Democrat that day. Here with me now is Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi. Thank you so much for being here. It's nice to see you in person. I want to play...
Man, that is a yellow outfit.
Well, it matches her skin tone.
Yeah, canary in the coal mine skin tone.
Something that you said just days after the January 6th attack.
Weigh a ton, and if you're Donald Trump talking to these people, they believe it, and they used his words to come here. The crime, in some cases, was murder. Yeah. And this president is an accessory to that crime because he instigated that insurrection that caused those deaths and this destruction.
Do you still believe, as you did then, that Donald Trump committed a crime?
First, let me thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Congratulations to you on your 30 years. It seems impossible, but nonetheless, how wonderful. The president is not above the law.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess it depends on the president and how much the administrative state wants to work with them.
Yeah, since when?
And the larger party. But what really struck me there at the beginning of that clip, we're going to have to scrub ahead, find the part about Alabama, is this, did you see how far apart they were sitting? Not here, in the old clip.
Yeah, I did know.
Yeah, during the whole COVID era. Did that really keep Nancy and the reporter safe? Because given the way that woman talks, I'd imagine you need to back up more than 12 feet.
Yeah.
Certainly more than 6.
Spray it, don't spray it.
I know. It's a sad day in America when we're still run by old people like this, but let's continue on.
Yes, okay. I'm not as familiar with the United Auto Workers strike, but I am familiar with the UPS strike, and I think that that's within range not to be a strike. And I would hope so, because people work very hard, and some of the terms are...
Okay, unionization. Are we all for that?
Which Democrat are we?
Yeah, right.
Right.
Are we all for that? Are we doing that right now? Then she's asking about the Hunter Biden probe. Okay, finally, I think we're on our story here, folks. Let's listen in.
As Republican governor defied a court order, one that was a...
Missy, they talking about me, sugar. Watch out, Nancy. Missy and me been doing some woodworking, and we will whoop you if you come down and step. No way, Jose. No step too high for a high step.
Keep going.
Held by the Supreme Court to redraw the state's congressional map and add a second majority black district. What's your reaction to that?
It's ridiculous. That is so completely, totally ridiculous. I have a great deal of respect for Eric Holder, who's the head of the National Democratic Redistricting Committee. He's not a partisan. He's just saying, let's have an objective redistricting.
What does that even
Eric
mean?
Holder isn't a partisan? Eric Holder isn't a partisan? Well, okay, Nancy, Donald Trump isn't a partisan. Jackass. Let's keep going.
Terri Sewell, our member of Congress from the area, in the district they drew earlier in the week, they took her out of Selma. They took her out of Montgomery.
Oh, no.
She's an iconic figure there. And, of course,
Iconic,
John
yes.
Lewis and Martin Luther King Jr. And took her out of that. So something is wrong with that picture. And it's larger. You see the racism that is happening in our country. They had an article in the paper this morning about a black man who was elected mayor of a southern town, and the whites said you can't serve. So it's getting to be pretty blatant. So maybe they intend to take this back up to the Supreme Court, but they cannot. They cannot. And that's why we have to pass the Voting Rights Act. When I was not even speaker, I was a leader, we wrote it in our office with the Republicans, bipartisan way, the Voting Rights Act.
Yeah.
We frisked the senator, leader in the Senate, and I walked down the steps. In the House, we had 400 and something votes.
Yeah, it was a big bipartisan vote.
Unanimous in the Senate. What has happened to the Republican Party that they've taken it to this?
I think my response to this, and this is why I would never get elected to office, Guy, but hey, Nancy, take your accusations of racism and shove them up your ass.
Somebody needs to say it.
Because, yeah, there's real racism in this world, but you call everybody and almost everything under the sun, you account for every disparity and every injustice in this world because of racism. And you know what? People are numb to it. Could have some bad outcomes that people are numb to it. But if you abuse it, well, you're going to lose that feeling that you once had. 272-9228.
Go your way.
Yeah, I know. But we'll see what the courts decide. I think it is a little cheeky by the Alabama government, to the legislature, the governor, the attorney general, to try to pull this off. But we'll see what happens in the courts. And if they get struck down, then we're back at the drawing board. Again, don't you love democracy? It means elite folks and lawyers in back rooms and judges all alike have to draw when and where the people can vote before they ever make a decision. Sounds like consent of the governed to me. Let's go to Bill on line one. Hey, Bill.
Hey, guys. Do you know how many states in the continental United States has to abide by that?
It's down to 5, or is it 7 or 5?
I think it's 14.
Oh,
They're all
right?
southern states.
Oh, of course, that's what it's all about.
And it goes back to the Jim Crow stuff, but you know what the state ought to say? No, we're not.
10th Amendment.
Because as I recall, the Constitution says all men are created equal. Does it not? Is that not in the preamble?
Yeah.
So if all men are created equal, if they want there to be black voting districts, they should have the blacks move there. Not redraw the line.
Actually, here's my proposal, and I think it would shut up everybody about this stupid gerrymandering, because it does go on. we should actually go back to the original math first proposed by, say, somebody like James Madison. If we actually had, what is it now? Like one congressman, one member of the House of Representatives every like 700,000 Americans? It should be something more like 30 or 50, which means we would have thousands of members in the House of Representatives. Oh, that's crazy. You couldn't get anything done. That's the point.
That's good government.
That's the point. You want it to be about small blocks of folks, and then you have to build coalitions, and then the Senate is more your elitist sort of institution, and your president is the figurehead of the people. Like, it's like an elected king, and that's how it's supposed to work. Instead, we get this gerrymandering crap. I can't even say the word, and it just brings up old problems.
Well, you know, it's really about segregation was supposed to end back in the 60s. So when you have black districts, who usually represent black districts? Blacks.
Yeah.
Show me a black district that elects a white representative, and I'll drop my subject. But there's not one. So basically what they're doing is reinstilling segregation. Blacks represent blacks, blacks represent whites, and whites represent whites.
Well, Jim Crow ended 50-some years ago, 60 years ago. Why are we still living under the federal boot as to meeting their opinion and their...
Because we know you hicks, you rednecks, you crackers. If we let y'all run free, you're going to do all sorts of crazy stuff.
So
we don't want any of that.
Under occupation.
Because the states won't say, we're not participating in this anymore.
Well, that brings... Sky, you just brought up something. That brings about... Do we have so many military bases here in Alabama, and then there's talk of not just Space Command, but the FBI headquarters? Do we have so many of these installments? For similar reasons, there are all these installments in Germany and Japan.
We're under occupation.
Most people don't see it that way, but it's interesting how much Alabama has become the hub of the United States military. And yet these folks won't let us kill babies up to the moment of birth, so we got to reassess our relationship.
Yeah, we need your permission.
Well, there was a caller a week or so ago on the show that precedes you that brought up the 17th Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
And it really made me start thinking about the 17th Amendment and what it really did and what it really says. And I don't remember who the caller was, but he was pretty much dead on. If we're going to repeal any parts of constitutional law, the 17th Amendment would be a great place to start, because it really handicaps our representatives from representing the people to representing conglomerates and whoever has the most money.
Yep.
So, anyway.
Appreciate it, Bill.
Enjoy listening to y'all guys when I get to. Y'all have a great afternoon.
Thanks, Bill.
And just a reminder to folks out there who are listening on the regular terrestrial airwaves, we are now doing a live stream. And maybe you've gotten tired of our app that keeps dropping. Go to News Talk's Facebook page, go to my personal Facebook page, Joey Clark, or you can go to my Twitter account, @TheJoeyClark, or you can go to the YouTube, and we are streaming live there as we speak. You can see my face or something like that, and hear Sky Mosley's voice at the same time. He declined to have a camera put on him this afternoon, folks.
Sick,
yeah, and I get it. I certainly understand that. I'm bashful at times, too.
I'll do it later this week. All
right.
When I decide I'm going to live again.
No excuses. Play like a champion. All right? Okay. This part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And there at Montgomery Men's Health, well, if you're a man and you've been feeling run down, tired, sluggish, not just physically, like you're kind of listless, lacking motivation, like what's the next step of the day, this week, this month, maybe you're even lacking that motivation, that puts you in the mood. What do they call it? Libido? Could be low libido. Maybe you are working out, going to the gym constantly, but you're not seeing any gains, brother. Well, it could be low testosterone. A lot of men are suffering from it. Now, it happens naturally as you get older as a man, and there are a lot of guys in their 60s, even their 70s, that are looking to get back that edge. But if you're 20-something, if you're 30-something and you're experiencing these symptoms, there's something you need to get checked out about that. So here's the deal. Start with Montgomery Men's Health. They're reinventing men's health care here in the River region. For only $99 in about an hour, you can know your testosterone numbers, and they have treatments there for low T, if in fact you do have low testosterone. These treatments can truly change your life. Most men, after treatment, experience higher energy, better gains at the gym.
Brother.
That's right, brother. Improved sleep patterns, better mental clarity. You might even notice an increased sex drive.
Good.
There ain't nothing wrong with that. So check out Montgomery Men's Health today. You can always call them at 440-3663. Again, that's 440-3663. Or go to montgomerymenshealth.com and be sure to tell them you heard about them here on News and Views in the afternoon. More News and Views after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hey, we're talking to Tammy. Tammy, why does everybody loves Mama's Produce?
Goodness, there's a whole lot of reasons to love Mama's Produce. Produce, we got ice cream. Man, have we got some fresh peas. We've got fresh limas. We've got watermelons, tomatoes. There's a whole lot of reasons to love Mama's.
And Tammy, I understand you got some fantastic watermelons.
Actually, right now, I've got in some yellow meat, some sugar babies, some seedless, and I've got some Jubilees that just came in.
And of course, Tammy, you keep everybody up to date on your Facebook page.
We try to stay engaged on Facebook, and if I don't answer you on Facebook or Messenger, I'll sit down at the end of the day and go through them.
Tammy, that sounds good. Now tell us where you are.
We're at 1154 South Memorial Drive in Prattville. That's about a half a mile south of the Midtown McDonald's, attached to Prattville Farm Center and right across from Pig Enterprise. Yep, we close at 5:30 Monday through Friday and Saturday at 2. Everybody loves Mama's.
Finally, the Toyota store that gives you more. The all-new Toyota of Montgomery is here with all-new management, all-new team, and all-new great attitude. Get more from your Toyota store. Over 400 new Toyotas are coming in hot and filling up our lot. Get your favorite new Toyota model, like the 2023 Toyota Camry, Corolla, RAV4, Highlander, Tacoma, Tundra, and more. All with our lowest grand opening prices and biggest grand opening savings right now. And come see how our new team is committed to serve Montgomery and give you the best service in the River region. And we'll always pay you more money for your trade-in. Find out how much and schedule an appraisal online at ToyotaMontgomery.com. You get more. You save more. A lot more. Get your new Toyota today before someone else does. And discover the all-new way to buy a Toyota at Toyota Montgomery. Shop online at ToyotaMontgomery.com.
This is James Jones with Jones Drugs. We've got locations in Prattville, Millbrook, Greenville, and Montgomery, and soon to be Phoenix City. My dad told me once if I wanted the whole world to know anything, to tell my aunt. Well, I don't have my aunt here, but I've got the next best thing, Blue Water Broadcasting. They have helped us grow the Jones Drug family in this area for over 10 years. Thank you, Blue Water.
Did you know that radio is the #1 reach platform in all of media? It's true. Call us to find out how to put radio's #1 reach to work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
Rich Thomas weather brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. Truckers, if you are looking for green grass, contact Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. In business since 1959 and still growing. Call today, 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We're starting off this week fairly routine. The temperature's not as excessive as last week. Today, with lots of sun, I think we're dry with a high temperature up to the low to mid-90s. Low tonight around 70. The humidity levels this week not too bad. I think we'll stay out of the triple-digit heat indices. Tuesday and Wednesday's high, maybe the middle 90s, but still dry. Then some widely scattered storms returning to the forecast on Thursday and Friday, but they will be few and far between. We'll be in the upper 90s by the end of the week. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
ASE Credit Union makes auto loans easy with rates as low as 4.75% APR. Apply online or visit your local branch today. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
ASE Credit Union. Your life, your goals, your ASE.
All the headlines the mainstream media won't touch. Your News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Now, it wasn't just Governor Ivey signing that new redistricting law that got Nancy all upset. I mean, it's her job. I love, by the way, I got to go back to this. Whenever partisans or politicians talk about, well, they're just playing politics. I'm looking out for the truth. No, you all do it. It's in the name. Politicians. And why is it? I still don't know the answer to this. Why is it that democracy is the greatest thing ever? Like, democracy can do no wrongs. Democracy is even the excuse North Korea and China use to be like, oh, we're good people. We're good people. Even Iran. They call themselves the Islamic Republic, right? Like, so everybody's using this Democratic Republican language. So, but democracy is amazing, but politics is just dirty. Isn't it funny? How do you have a democracy without politics?
Haven't figured that one out. That's part of the utopia.
It's like a doctor saying about another crosstown doctor, all they do is practice medicine over there. I thought that's what you did. Do they do it well?
It's different when they do it.
Well, it wasn't just, though, Nancy Pelosi and others getting upset with Governor Ivey over this redistricting that they have presented.
No.
Well, Governor Ivey has done a good thing. I'm very happy.
Sure, but
and I don't know if the ship is turning when it comes to the Alabama Education Association or just Governor Ivey herself or just people are changing their minds. But did you, let's get a load of this guy. Did you see that she wants to now be the most school-friendly state in the nation?
School choice. Yeah.
She's actually backing school choice.
What's happened to the gov?
It's amazing to see. Like, I'll take this all day, every day.
Maybe she's realized that she doesn't have another election to win.
Right.
And she can become a real governor for the people.
So she was.
Could happen.
This is a write-up from Jeff Poore. Although she has been seemingly absent from the public policy arena in recent months, Governor Ivey made an appearance on Alabama Public Television's Capitol Journal with Todd Stacey. How's it shaking, Todd? Mm-hmm. Good guy. See you at Dino's some other time soon, sir. But according to Ivey, an education savings account bill would be offered to the Alabama legislature next year. My goal is for Alabama to be the most school choice friendly state in the nation. Isn't that right, Missy? I want us to have lots of school choices for our parents to choose from. We are working already now, on a bill, an ESA bill, an education savings account bill, and to present to the legislature in the next session. I'm very optimistic that will pass. See, Governor, even though you're doing things I now like, I still got to have fun. But it is very important for our parents to have choices of where to send their children for school, whether it's public, private, homeschool, or whatever. or whatever. But the goal is to get our children a quality education. Here. That's no argument for me. This is fantastic news.
Something I had to check twice to make sure. Wait a minute, this is coming from who?
Yeah, like
Governor Ivey.
That's awesome. And I've actually heard there's a shift, I think, going on within the education powers that be here in this state. I think they're seeing which way the wind is blowing, and they realize, hey, we might as well go along with the wind, not fight it.
Really?
So we'll see what this.
I just can't believe that the AEA would ever allow real competition.
And it's not a matter of trust at this point. It's that whole Reagan trust but verify thing.
Right.
And so we'll see next session. I think she should draft something and call a special just to get that done. Like, we don't have time to waste with these kids here. Hey, and also to Governor Ivey's credit, she said, I'm no longer pushing off the Literacy Act. Our kids can't read, and yet you're pushing them to the next grade. Yeah, I agree. Like, you can't graduate the third grade if you can't read at the third grade level.
You're never going to catch up.
Like, you have to hold people to higher standards. And actually, you know what? I think kids all kids, I don't care where you come from, when they're given high expectations to rise to, they will.
Testify.
Or they won't, and they end up in prison. 272-9228. This is part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services. And, of course, Ashley and her team there at Pest Pro Services, well, they can help you out with all sorts of your pest control needs. It could be, you're worried about termites. Now, you don't want to wait till you get the swarm. Have you seen the swarm of termites, Guy?
I have in the past, yes.
Like personally?
Yes, totally freaked me out. I've also seen the swarm of ants that look like termites.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those
Neither
too.
are good.
Yeah, I don't like that. Here's the deal. Yeah, Pest Pro can, of course, take care of that if you already have termites in your house. If you go touch the crown molding by accident and it dissolves like sawdust, yeah, you got termites, man.
Problem.
But what you need to do is just get on top of it, get ahead of it. Pest Pro Services can come out and actually lay down bait. They're the only company in the river region with the Termidor HP2 injection unit. I'm telling you, folks, it's a very impressive unit. They bring the very best and newest technology to your home, and so when the termites hit that bait, Pest Pro will know, and they can take them out before they ever do any damage to your home or your property. They can also do things, with fire ants, with mosquitoes, with any sort of pest problem you might have. So call up Pest Pro Services today, 265-9990. That's 265-9990. You can also go to ppsriverregion.com or just search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. When you want to know, call a pro, Pest Pro Services, and be sure to tell them you heard about them here on News and Views in the afternoon. Quick break here. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. If you're looking for waterproof carpet, hardwood, laminate, vinyl plank, or ceramic tile, call us today for your free measurement.
During Prattville Carpet's summer sale, you can get Mohawk waterproof flooring, regularly priced at $11 per foot installed, right now priced at $7 per foot installed. That's huge summer savings. And get interest-free financing for up to 12 months with approved credit. Call 285-8117 or visit PrattvilleCarpet.com.
Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
We get Montgomery talking 24 hours a day. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. And, folks, I was about to go to this clip. It came out at a press conference, I believe, at the end of last week. Senator Katie Boyd Britt. Sometimes it's fun to use a whole name, isn't it, Sky? But Senator Britt
Sounds guilty.
was really calling out the problems with the border, but in particular having a focus on child trafficking that's going on. And in fact, she and her team sat down with Tim Ballard, who Sound of Freedom is about, and hosted him in her office, got to know him a little better. And I think it is underlined what was already a motivation for Senator Britt with child trafficking and too much of it, and all sorts of drug trafficking, plenty of other things going on with the border. But as I went to pull up this clip, I noticed the change on the Twitter has officially been made. The bird is gone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was,
Yeah, check this out. It's now to X. I don't know if you folks can see that on the live stream, but it is no longer the bird, the Tweety bird. It is X. And Elon was asking advice of folks on the interwebs, on X. Hey, what should we call it now that it's not Twitter? We still want to call it tweeting or Xting or something like that. But yeah, I didn't know that was happening right today.
It's already on the page.
But let's listen in. This is Senator Britt. Well, at least, I think Friday. Let's listen in together.
Make no mistake, this is both a national security and a humanitarian crisis. Now, I have been to the border. I went 3 times in the first 2 months. in office because I wanted the real, unvarnished truth. I asked them, tell me even what you think I don't want to hear. I want to know the full set of facts. And one fact is that our courageous Border Patrol agents, ICE, National Guard, local law enforcement are doing every single thing possible to make sure that Americans maintain their safety and that they help end this crisis. But the bottom line is they're overextended and they're under-resourced. Folks, this is having real implications on real people. And the only people that are benefiting from Joe Biden's failed policies, not Americans, it's not these migrants. Just as Senator Johnson said, it is essentially terrorists and drug cartels that are making bank and getting their way. We must do more. We must stand up and tell the drug cartels that the American dream is not for sale.
And now I've been telling you folks that, everybody's still complaining about Russia invading Ukraine. Tony Blinken talking about how, well, the Ukrainians have taken 50% of Russian-occupied territory. I think that's a little misleading there, Tony, if technically true, and I don't even know about that. But if Russia gets to invade Ukraine and China wants to invade Taiwan, why doesn't the U.S. invade Mexico?
Well, now.
I'm just saying it's coming.
There's a point to ponder.
I'm not saying I'm for it or against it. I'm saying that it's coming because it's one of the most popular things, number one, for GOP voters to secure the border. And when you bring up what the drug cartels are doing, in particular the bribery schemes that got going on now, they're now doing terroristic actions inside the United States, starting to cross the border. And if you listen to interviews of some of these guys who have been involved with the cartels, those guys don't pay attention to borders. It's their whole area and their whole territory, how they operate. And I'm not saying it would be like a full-on hundreds of thousands of troops invasion, but remember what the U.S. did in Colombia, say, in the 80s? Yeah. I think that's coming with Mexico and the drug cartels.
Well, how many have to come over the border illegally before you call it an official invasion? Doesn't that require military action? I hear your point. I love it. As a intellectual exercise.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking that's coming. Like all the great powers of the world just gotta, attack their near abroad. It's almost like geostrategic thinking doesn't change even.
Save on the next, American adventurism. Let's just do it next door.
Right.
Come on. The logistics, the mobilization, it's a cinch. We're already there.
Right. I'm sure the cartels won't cause any troubles here.
Screw them,
Okay.
Well, you know what? This I think I could get behind this. Normally, I'm against all.
I'm just saying, I think that's the next war, folks, at least if the GOP gets its way. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Israeli Prime Minister. Current medical crisis reveals he has suffered from an irregular heartbeat for years. It's news to Israelis that their longest-serving prime minister has been dealing with a chronic health problem. Australia will buy 2 new C-130 Hercules planes from the U.S. in a $6.6 billion deal that will increase by 2/3 the number of the Australian Air Force's second-largest heavy transport aircraft. The U.S. Geological Survey says a 3.8 magnitude earthquake shook a northern Arizona town Sunday afternoon, but there were no immediate reports of injuries or damage. That small quake struck near Chino Valley, just north of Prescott, around 2 p.m. local time. The Dow had 201 points and the NASDAQ up 26. This is SRN News.
The recent bank failures are serving as a warning about how fragile our banking system really is. As millions of Americans panic, do you know what central banks are doing? Well, they're actually buying up gold at record levels. They're relying on it as a safe haven during these difficult times. That's how confident they are in the dollar. Hi, I'm Lance Wallnow, Christian author and evangelical leader to millions of people just like you. We're all Americans who want to protect our family's savings no matter what. I tell people the best option is to diversify their 401k or IRA into physical gold or silver with the help of Birch Gold Group. To see how it works, just text the word FAITH to the number 989898 to get a free information kit on gold IRAs. Look, there's no strings attached. It's not going to hurt you to take action now. So take the first step today and educate yourself. Get your free info kit when you text FAITH to 989898 right now. And I pray you and your family are greatly blessed.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Alabama Wholesale Lumber. Alabama Wholesale Lumber, the best quality building materials in the river region for decades. From common builds to special orders and local delivery. Call Alabama Wholesale Lumber.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We're starting off this week fairly routine. The temperature's not as excessive as last week. Today, with lots of sun, I think we're dry with a high temperature up to the low to mid-90s. Low tonight around 70. The humidity levels this week not too bad. I think we'll stay out of the triple-digit heat indices. Tuesday and Wednesday's high, maybe the middle 90s, but still dry. Then some widely scattered storms returning to the forecast on Thursday and Friday, but they will be few and far between. We'll be in the upper 90s by the end of the week. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
From WAKA Channel 8 News, I'm Jerome Jones. Alabama lawmakers on Friday approved new district lines 6 weeks after the U.S. Supreme Court ruling upholding a lower court ruling that the state's previous map with one black majority district out of 7 in a state that is 27% black likely violated the Voting Rights Act by diluting the voting power of black residents. The state's Republican legislative supermajority boosted the percentage of black voters in the majority right 2nd congressional district from about 31% to almost 40%. Critics of the plan say it does not satisfy the court ruling. A federal panel will now review the proposed map. Police say a 16-year-old has been charged with capital murder. He's charged in the shooting death of 41-year-old Craig Adair of Montgomery. Adair was shot at around 10 a.m. Friday in the 6100 block of Eric Lane, which is off of Troy Highway. 28-year-old Kendrick Moorer is also charged with capital murder. I'm Jerome Jones. Watch WAKA Channel 8 News.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
This is Evan Bass for Montgomery Men's Health, and I've been helping men with low testosterone issues for over a decade. I've seen firsthand how low testosterone sneaks up on you, often so slowly that you just get used to all the issues that come along with being low T. If you're experiencing a low sex drive, if your energy just isn't what it used to be, if you're gaining unwanted fat or have issues with muscle gain in the gym, you very well may have low testosterone. At Montgomery Men's Health, we've successfully treated many men for low T, and the results can be life-changing. Many of our patients start putting on muscle again when they work out. They find they have more energy, they sleep better, and their sex lives often improve as well. So make an appointment today and see if low T therapy can make the difference for you. Your first appointment is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult with testosterone lab results in minutes. Call 334-440-3663. That's 334-440-3663 or go to montgomerymenshealth.com.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy?
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark, 272-9228. As the big voice says, let's go right to Urbanite on line 1. Hey, Urbanite, how you doing this afternoon?
You know, I chuckled when you said
point that the United States could go into Mexico. To quote a very famous radio personality, did you know that at the end of the Mexican-American War, we occupied every major city in Mexico and gave it back to them?
Right.
Because we were so poor as a country, we couldn't afford to maintain it.
Well, that was Polk, right? And he sent all sorts of folks down to the border and said, now you do not fire first, but you do stuff that gets them to fire first, and it gives us our causus belli, or something like that.
Well, you know, and it probably involves some Civil War people, but we'll go on from there, right?
No, it does. A lot of guys ended up fighting against each other. Grant and Lee, all these folks are involved.
Yeah, they just couldn't give up that fighting stuff, huh? But I do have a question. I think everybody's laughing at the girls in Birmingham, right? Have we figured out?
Oh, yeah.
Half crazy? What's the story on that? Because it ain't no child trafficking, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's somebody who just made up too big a fishing story and didn't think anybody be paying attention. But when you call 911, that, they might take that seriously.
Let Katie Britt didn't jump on that, or no Republican was dumb enough to jump on it.
Right.
That's what I'm glad about, that nobody jumped on it.
Well, from first blush, it didn't make sense. Like you're getting bits of a trafficking story, but not the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Well, I see a baby walking down 459. I'm thinking it's a traffic. I'm going to call 911. I'm going to keep doing 60 miles an hour.
Right. You're not going to stop and get that kid?
No, I'm a guy. What am I going to do for a baby? I can't suckle it. What am I going to do?
You could take it to somebody who could suckle it.
No. Why would I pick up a stranger's child and put them in my car?
Yeah, then you're the one who's on the... Yeah, I see.
Kidnapping and trafficking on my own. No, I'm not going to be in that situation. I'm going to have to call somebody and keep moving.
All right.
Call me cold, but, a guy has nothing to do with another child. A child, man. Come on. That's just...
Well, and you do got to watch out for those situations where you're essentially baited into stopping, whether it's something unusual like a kid or like good-looking women, or like there are all sorts of tricks these guys pull.
Yeah. And somebody jumps down in the bushes and whips your butt, then what are you going to say? You're going to look real stupid. I liked her because she was cute, so I pulled over.
Right.
She said, no, she wasn't cute, you weren't going to pull over. Let's be honest with her.
I've always wanted to save a damsel in distress, and that's what you say, maybe.
Yeah, because if she looked like a truck driver, you ain't pulling over. You know it, and I know it. Have a good one, Joey.
Appreciate it, Urbanite. 272-9228. This is part of the program brought to you by Carl Schmidt there at the Herb Shop. At the Herb Shop Wellness Center, Carl and his team, well, they can help you with supplementing and improving that health. What Carl likes to do is have you sit down, make an appointment by calling him at 271-2882. And once you're there, he's going to ask you, what's your doctor got you diagnosed on? Or what's your doctor have you diagnosed with? What sort of drugs does he have you on? What's he telling you about you? And from that baseline, Carl can help supplement, and especially if you have certain deficiencies with crucial vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, or it could be you have toxins, outside toxins inside the body. He can help get rid of those. He can also help you, maybe you're very athletic, you need extra supplementation for that, or it could be you're getting up there in years, so you need certain things. Of course, they also have aromatherapy, and don't forget about the phototherapy stem cell patches. I am a true believer in those. It solved a wicked shoulder problem of mine, and what it does is it refracts light back inside the body, and that stimulates base level peptides and stem cell production, and so it's true reverse aging. You're going to get an immune system like you had 10, 15, 20 years ago after a few courses of these patches. You wear it up 12 hours a day on the back of your neck, nape of the neck, or under the belly button, then you take it off, dispose of it, and you wear a different one the next day. It's pretty easy and pretty non-invasive, folks. And, of course, he has so much more there at the Herb Shop Wellness Center. You got to stop by and see him today. Pepper Tree Shopping Center, just off of Vaughn Road, in between Marguerites and Jalapenos. And be sure to tell Carl and the team there at the Herb Shop that Joey from News and Views sent you. Let's go to the phones. Line 1, you're on there. Who's this?
Papa B, Papa B.
Hello, Papa B. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm not going to go see the Atomic Bomb movie.
I thought Oppenheimer was great, but I'm not. If you want to just escape, go have a good time at the movie theater, not the right movie for you.
Right. Well, I mean, it's the same reason that I'm not going to go see Call of Freedom. I mean,
right.
I've heard, I should say, that this kind of stuff was going on for a very, very long time, at least the last 6 to 8 years or so. I've heard that this kind of thing was going on, but it is awful, and my heart can't take it, man. These little kids, suffer. I mean, I can't take the blame commercial with the animals in it.
Right.
It just hurts.
So what you're trying to tell me in a long-winded way is you're going to see Barbie?
Yes, I'm going to go see. Of course.
I knew what you were up to from the first step you took. From jump, I knew what you were up to.
I'm going to go see Mission Impossible. I've seen all of those. I like those. I mean, Tom Cruise is a good actor.
Sure.
He may not be worth jump any other way, but he's a good actor.
Wait, are you at the age where you really, and I'm not making a joke about being old or making a dig. I've talked to people in my family where it's like, Joe, I know you like that movie, but I've seen it before. I saw it in the 70s. It's the same story. Why don't they come up with something new? Are you at that age now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. But I mean, it's a diversion. The other one, Dune. I like sci-fi. I'll probably go see Dune.
The first, the part one of that, the new Dune was awesome. So I'm excited for that too.
Yeah, well, the original movie was ahead of its time, really. Now they've got a lot of the, video techniques, kind of really ironed out, so it makes it a lot more realistic, or believable, maybe. I don't know how to say it.
Well, I think Villeneuve has just proven himself to be a top-notch sci-fi director. The movie's intense, and it's long, but it doesn't feel long, which is a huge credit to it.
Exactly, yeah. This big having to suit the Supreme Court, I think that the legislature of Alabama did a great job. I think they did exactly what I was hoping they would do, which is kind of force the Supreme Court's hand here, because they might have insinuated that they wanted, an African American, one of our Congress people to be an African American, another Congress person, but they couldn't say it because that would just be outright, so they stuck to they held their cards real close to the vest. The Supreme Court did when they wrote it, and so in that case, the legislature wrote new districts. I think they did a good job. I think. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think they did. They went for something they probably know has the potential to be controversial and shot down, but it was worth doing it to just go forward with it. And all sorts of folks out there with theories that they're just trying to run out the clock before the next election. I highly doubt that. I think the court could very quickly go, nope, do the other one. That could be done very swiftly here.
Well, I don't think that they will, but maybe they will. I don't know. But I actually anticipate the Supreme Court just saying, okay, well, you did it. You did a job.
Yeah, on the day when I'm sorry. No, I was going to say on the day where this decision came down from the Supreme Court, and I saw Terri Sewell very publicly saying, oh, what a great day. We've been working for this day for so long. I'm like, she might be, I think she's lying, or she's at least omitting some things. I suspect she's got some worries here that she's got to put on a good, public face about it. But I'm sure she's sitting here going, dadgummit, the sure thing I had is kind of out the door.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I'm like you, I like Terri, I think she does a pretty good job. Well, you know what? She brings the bacon home to Alabama for the bases, and she helps in a lot of ways like that. So I like her for that. Our politics don't line up, but it seems like she is. When it comes to being pro-Alabama, she helps out in those ways. So. But anyway, let's see what happens. I think wouldn't it be amazing if the Supreme Court says, nope, that works. All right, next.
It would be. It really would be.
Yeah, I love it. Anyway, all right, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Appreciate it, Papa B. 272-9228. You want to get in on the conversation. In international news, Israel is on the brink. Actually, massive demonstrations, some violence, I would say low-key, but violence in the streets as protesters and demonstrators clashed with security forces. And this is all over this judicial reform proposed by Bibi Netanyahu's very conservative coalition government over there in Israel. They were celebrating years ago, oh, we finally got rid of Benjamin Netanyahu. He's come back. And they even are pushing through this law. He had to have an emergency pacemaker put in. Bibi Netanyahu did. So he was sitting there right after that procedure, hearing all the jeers and arguments and support there in the Knesset. But outside, it was raucous. And you even had the president of Israel, again, Bibi's the prime minister, but the president of Israel saying, we're on the brink of civil war. Well, I certainly hope not, for everybody's sake there in the Holy Land. But one thing I found interesting as I was reading up, I think it was an AP story that was detailing this morning, is how much the corporate media in this country and in Israel and across the West, Germany, France, how much the corporate media is all for left-wing protest and street demonstrations. And you know what? Who said a protest has to be respectful? And, sometimes you got to set things on fire. Sometimes a riot is the voice for the unheard, all right, and the marginalized. But they can only be left-wing. If you're a right-wing and you feel like you're voiceless and marginalized and you go protest and demonstrate in the streets in the similar way, well, you're a fascist. Get jackboot brown shirts. Interesting how there are different standards for these sorts of demonstrations. And it's always a good thing to realize, folks, that we like to draw all these borders and lines between the countries. That, it's Democrats and Republicans, conservatives and progressives here in the United States, and they don't have anything to do with British politics or Israeli politics or French politics or Hungarian politics or Ukrainian. Well, except they do. These coalitions and these like-minded fellow travelers around the world tend to move money around to try to influence what's going on. Why do you think in so much of the American press was there awful press for, say, Hungary and Viktor Orban? Well, because he's breaking with most of the rest of Europe's point of view on how to run a country, especially migration or the war in Ukraine. So we got to bring him down a peg, at least smear his reputation, because we just don't like that. And it's the same thing with Israel. The amount of interventions into Israeli politics by the American government is absurd. And so when I hear folks talk about the Russians stole the election, the Russians are influencing people. Really? Yeah, the Russians engage in disinformation and propaganda campaigns. I agree. But they got nothing on the West, especially Washington, D.C. and the Beltway. They got nothing on us. We are some of the most propagandized people in the world. Yet most Americans go, let's turn on the 6 o'clock news and get informed. Sure. 272-9228. This part of the program, brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. In fact, this entire hour is brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And there at Alabama Home Mortgage, Kim Williams and her team, including the lovely and talented Madeline Cannon, they can help you whether you're a first-time home buyer or it could be not your first rodeo. but you want to work with folks that you can trust, folks that have earned their reputation here locally in town, people you can actually sit down with, who you can get to know. They get to know you, not just personally, but like, what are your financial goals? What's your goal in buying a home? And they can walk you through that home buying process from pre-approval all the way to closing day and all the steps in between. And of course, a lot of folks are also going for a great refinance deal right now. Credit card debt's a problem. Other debts can be a problem. Well, why not consolidate that debt or get that credit card debt off your back by doing a great refinance deal with Alabama Home Mortgage? And they're VA home loan specialists there. So if you're a veteran listening, it's the best deal in town whether you're buying or refining. But you can refinance as a veteran up to 100% of your home's estimated value. Incredible best deal in town. So check them out today. That's Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223, 567-4223. You can also visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim and her team prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. More news and views in the afternoon. After this.
Joey Clark.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Is your cell phone or iPad cracked, broken, or not working right? Don't let the big carrier stores sucker you into a new $1,100 device. Let XI Repair fix your device today. XI Repair fixes cell phones, computers, laptops, iPads, game consoles, drones, and more. Their certified technicians fix hundreds of devices every day. When your device needs care, call XI Repair, 334-777-1234, or Google XI Repair.
Okay, what was that?
I'm not sure.
Electricity. It can be a little scary. Fortunately, the folks at Crosby Electric are experts, providing complete electrical services and keeping River Region homes and businesses safe since 1967.
I hate lightning.
Crosby Electric offers whole house surge protection to protect you and your possessions.
What I hate is being without electricity.
You never have to be. Crosby is an authorized generator dealer, sales, installation, and service.
Okay, our yard is dark.
Crosby does landscaping lighting for beauty and safety, as well as security lighting for all of your property.
Am I crazy, or did that light just flicker?
I'd say both.
And Crosby offers unique technology that pinpoints electrical problems even inside your walls.
Good night, honey.
Good night.
Sleep well tonight with no electrical worries. Visit crosbyelectric.com or call 272-2085. That's 272-2085.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
The Health and Wealth Show. The Health and Wealth Show. The show so nice, we said it twice. Weekday evenings at 6 on News Talk 93.1 WACV. The Health.
Break it up, son. Joke's over here.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back. Fascinating write-up today in the Wall Street Journal. And it's about, of all things, tipping. Now, I don't know if y'all have noticed that the whole idea of tipping has become, well, expanded beyond what it used to be. And, I used to think, well, and because I've done delivery driving, I've done jobs based on the tips one receives. So I always try to make it a point at a restaurant, or if I order food to the house, these sorts of things, I'm going to give a big old tip, so to speak. But apparently things have now been expanded. Why businesses can't stop asking for tips. This is from Rachel Wolf for the Wall Street Journal. See what y'all think of this. And 272-9228, if you have an opinion on their experience even of a business where you go, why would I give you a tip? Like, you're not, what did you do extra special? But American businesses have gotten hooked on tipping, writes Rachel Wolf. Tip requests have spread far beyond the restaurants and bars that have long relied on them to supplement employee wages. Juice shops, appliance repair firms, and even plant stores are among the service businesses now asking customers to hand over some extra money to their workers. The U.S. economy is more tip-reliant than ever, said Scheherazade Raymond. What kind of name is that? Anyway, an economist and professor of international finance at George Washington University. But there's a growing sense that these requests are getting out of control and that corporate America is dumping the responsibility for employee pay onto the customer. Some businesses are new to tipping, and they said they have turned to the practice to try to retain workers in a competitive job market while also keeping their prices low. Yeah, but then you're having to tip more. That affects the price. Asking for tips allows them to increase worker pay without raising their wages. Consumers seeing tip prompts at every turn say they are overwhelmed and that worker wages should be business owners' responsibility, not theirs. Isn't it everybody's responsibility at the end of the day? 16% of the 517 small businesses surveyed by employee management software company Homebase for the Wall Street Journal asked customers to leave a tip at checkout, up from 6.2% in 2019. So we've gone up 10% in just a few years. Payroll company Paychex, which provides software for thousands of businesses in leisure, hospitality, retail, and other service industries, said more employees are receiving tips as a portion of their pay than at any time since the company started tracking tipping. As of May, 6.3% of workers whose employers use the software earn tips, compared with just 5.6% in 2020. The number remained relatively flat between 2016 and 2020. As of June, service sector workers in non-restaurant, leisure, and hospitality jobs made $1.35 an hour in tips, on average, up 30% from the $1.04. I mean, that's making a huge difference, right? They made in 2019. Tips now increase wages for service workers by an average of 25%, compared with 20% between 2019 and 2020, according to the payment service Gusto. In May, the average hourly service industry worker earned $16.64 an hour in base wages and $4.23 an hour in tips. During pandemic lockdowns, customers of many service businesses began tipping to acknowledge workers who put themselves at risk. This economist from, that we quoted earlier said that made businesses reliant on the practice. Employers with already tight margins say there's no going back. Well, unless people just stop. Like, I go to check out, why am I giving a tip to a cashier? And in fact, if the service sucks at a restaurant, I try to be generous. But if the service sucks, I'm not giving you a tip. You got to put your foot down sometimes. And that foot is me. With businesses still preparing for the possibility of a recession, they don't want to lock in higher wages, said Jonathan Mordock, a professor of public policy and economics at NYU. Tipping gives them more flexibility. He said the practice pushes the financial risk that employers would ordinarily shoulder onto their workers. Wow. And so people were asked, do you think people should have to tip for the following? Meal with an assigned waiter. The waiter brings you the water. Do you want some lemon? But 83% of people say, yeah, you should tip your waiter. Beauty self-care service. 74% of people say, yeah, tip that beautician. Hotel employee providing a physical service, like bringing your bags up. 71% of Americans say, yeah, you should do that. Meal at counter of a restaurant. Now, 56% of people say, no, we're not doing that. Household service. 66% of people say, no, we're not doing that. We're not tipping for that. Hotel employee answering questions. 67% of people say, no. This is what you would, like, I'm supposed to call you. You're supposed to be just a part of my paying for this room. Employee servicing electronic device. 77% say, no, I don't want to tip for that. Retailer ringing up items. 81% of folks say, Landlord assisting with repairs. 83% say, no, I'm paying rent for a reason, and I gave you a deposit for a reason. And 86% of Americans say, hey, if you're asking me for a tip at self-checkout, what am I going to do, tip myself? But 86% say no. Is there really a tip request at a self-checkout? Anyway, businesses are happy to let workers earn more from tips, especially when there's no pressure to raise the tip minimum. Holding on to workers has been especially difficult in the services sector, particularly since the pandemic. Lodging and food service have had the highest quit rate for workers since July of 2021, consistently above 4.9% per 3 months, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce said in a May 2023 report. The quit rate for the retail trade industry isn't far behind, around 3.3% so far in 2023. In May of 2023, the overall quit rate for workers across the board was 2.6%, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Dan Marino, founder of Miami-based Flamingo Appliance Service, decided in 2020 to add an option for customers to tip his employees, reasoning that his home repair technicians were taking health risks by entering customers' homes during the pandemic. About 1/3 of customers now leave a tip between 10 and 20%, Marino said. The request add an average of $650 a year into his 182 technicians' salaries, about 1% of their total yearly income. Rising costs, he said, persuaded him to retain the option after the pandemic abated. You wouldn't believe the margins we operate, he said. Competition for workers is fierce. Were he to eliminate the gratuity prompt, he said, he would have to raise prices beyond the 18% he already has on average since 2019, likely costing him clients. He knows the request might turn off some customers, but as the son of a repair technician and a former technician himself, he said he tries to do as much as he can for his workers. Within the food service industry, tips as a share of compensation are rising faster at limited service establishments such as bakeries and coffee shops than a full-service one. At the Maine Squeeze Juice Company in Louisiana, tips add $3 to $5 to workers' hourly pay, which starts at $10 an hour. Not too shabby. Owner Zachary Cheney said he added the option when he opened the location in 2020. If customers stopped tipping, we would be forced to pay employees more, and it would be hard on us as a business operators to, deal with this crazy environment. Checkouts that include a tip screen are more awkward for customers than for workers, she said. She understands if someone declines a tip, she said, and she wouldn't let the affected the quality of the service. Let that affect the quality of the service. So are we going to just tip everybody now? Hey, if you want to send me a tip, 272-9228. And I don't mean just information. Because as everybody's getting in on the tipping, why don't I? 272-9228. How about this? Let's hit a break. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
This is Evan Bass for Montgomery Men's Health, and I've been helping men with low testosterone issues for over a decade. I've seen firsthand how low testosterone sneaks up on you, often so slowly that you just get used to all the issues that come along with being low T. If you're experiencing a low sex drive, if your energy just isn't what it used to be, if you're gaining unwanted fat or have issues with muscle gain in the gym, you very well may have low testosterone. At Montgomery Men's Health, we've successfully treated many men for low T, and the results can be life-changing. Many of our patients start putting on muscle again when they work out. They find they have more energy, they sleep better, and their sex lives often improve as well. So make an appointment today and see if low T therapy can make the difference for you. Your first appointment is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult with testosterone lab results in minutes. Call 334-440-3663. That's 334-440-3663 or go to montgomerymenshealth.com.
Finally, the Toyota store that gives you more. The all-new Toyota of Montgomery is here with all-new management, all-new team, and all-new great attitude. Get more from your Toyota store. Over 400 new Toyotas are coming in hot and filling up our lot. Get your favorite new Toyota model, like the 2023 Toyota Camry, Corolla, RAV4, Highlander, Tacoma, Tundra, and more. All with our lowest grand opening prices and biggest grand opening savings right now. And come see how our new team is committed to serve Montgomery and give you the best service in the River region. And we'll always pay you more money for your trade-in. Find out how much and schedule an appraisal online at ToyotaMontgomery.com. You get more. You save more. A lot more. Get your new Toyota today before someone else does. And discover the all-new way to buy a Toyota at Toyota Montgomery. Shop online at ToyotaMontgomery.com.
Next contestant.
Honey, you look confused. What's wrong?
I'm having a hard time remembering to take my medications like I'm supposed to. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to worry you.
I'm glad you told me, because I heard that Adams Drugs has a medicine on time service that will package your monthly medications and make them easier to manage. Our neighbors, Bill and Leslie, mentioned the other day that they use Adams and how they have made it so easy for them to manage their medications.
Do you think we can call Adams Drugs or go by there and see if they can help me? I don't want to get to the point where you have to put me into an assisted living home.
Why don't you get your medications together right now, and let's go down to Adams and talk to the pharmacist.
How much does the medicine on time service cost?
I asked Bill that same question, and he told me it's a free service for Adams customers.
Free? Wow, I'm feeling really good about this already. Let me grab my meds list.
Call Adams Drugs Medicine on time for your pharmacist consultation. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net for more information on our Medicine on Time packaging service.
Hey, this is Benji with Marguerite's. The great thing about gold and diamonds is that we can make a ring that you have wore for 20 years look like the day you bought it. For example, if you have a white gold ring or rings that you have worn for some years, you can take it to a jewelry store and they will charge $150 to $250 to re-rhodium, polish, and clean your rings to get that look. You ask, what is rhodium? Rhodium is a very expensive precious metal that jewelers use to coat white gold rings to make them extremely light, of course, to make them look brand new again. Marguerite's has decided to brighten your summer with the complimentary rhodium and polish of your rings. As of today until August the 5th will be here before you know it. Bring in all your rings at Marguerite's. We will rhodium them at no charge whatsoever. So don't miss out on this great deal, because at Marguerite's, of course, we make it. We really make it. We're open 7 days a week for your convenience. For all your jewelry needs, we are located at 8163 Vaughn Road in the Preparatory Shopping Center. So come see us at Marguerite's. Let us make all your rings look like the day you bought them.
Visit Marguerite's now through August 5th for your complimentary rhodium and polish.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Alabama Wholesale Lumber. Alabama Wholesale Lumber, serving the river region with the best quality building materials for decades. Contractor to do-it-yourselfer. Call Alabama Wholesale Lumber.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We're starting off this week fairly routine. The temperature's not as excessive as last week. Today, with lots of sun, I think we're dry with a high temperature up to the low to mid-90s. Low tonight around 70. The humidity levels this week not too bad. I think we'll stay out of the triple-digit heat indices. Tuesday and Wednesday's high, maybe the middle 90s, but still dry. Then some widely scattered storms returning to the forecast on Thursday and Friday, but they will be few and far between. We'll be in the upper 90s by the end of the week. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That is if the phones are actually working. You never know. It depends on the day and whether or not somebody served Big Bertha over there at AT&T. Now, I just discovered something. I thought I knew, but as I saw it, I'm like, I don't think I've seen this before. Like, I've heard of a hobby horse, right? Like a toy horse, or you remember those things you could throw, like, right next to the bubble gum and the sticky things? It was like a horse. You throw a coin in there and you can ride the horse thing. Anybody? Just me? But I didn't know, because when I grew up, I played basketball, I played baseball, I played football. And football was really the only one I stuck with all the way through senior year in college, and I haven't engaged in any sporting, so to speak, since then. But, you know, you have a kid, and you want your kid to play the same sports as you. You want them to have the same experiences. Now, you might be like, you know what, football's causing too many concussions. So why don't you try soccer, kid? And soccer can also be, you know, fairly dangerous. If you're out there, you're really pushing yourself, physically speaking, it can be really dangerous. This is the risks of life. Now, say your kid doesn't want to do football or basketball or baseball or even soccer or lacrosse or wrestling or swimming. Say your kid says, Dad, I like horses. You're like, cool. So you're going to be an equestrian? That's a little expensive there, son. Do you have a scholarship, you know, up your sleeve or something? It's like, no, Dad, not normal horses. I want to get into hobby horsing. So for those of you who don't know what hobby horsing is, well, let me show you. Because I saw that this morning and realized, all right, I don't think I'm ready for this world that is coming towards us. But this, folks, is hobby horsing. No. Putting the cool, epic, dramatic music on this doesn't make it cooler. It's a kid with a stick that's got a horse head on it. He's running around prancing like one. Like a little pony. The heck is this? I don't know when this started, but this is not a good sign whatsoever. This is not a good sign at all that we've got this going on, folks. That's not a sport. Just like curling isn't a sport. And I'm sorry, I'd imagine if I was a father and my son came to me and said, Dad, I'm going to do hobby horsing. I don't know. I'd go to your room. Hobby horsing there. You're not doing that stuff in public. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
I'm glad that you participated in the athletic program. This is Crawdad. And you went to Catholic, right?
Yeah, I'm transfixed on this kid prancing around like he's actually riding a horse. Like he's jumping over obstacles and everything.
I have not seen this yet. What are we looking at? Is it something on the YouTube?
It's like imagine like a broomstick. Yeah. And on one end of it, it's not a broom, but it's like a stuffed fake horse head. Yeah, like a toy horsey. And the kid's got like he's a witch with the broomstick in between his legs, and he's prancing. It's like a Monty Python thing with the coconuts.
Okay. And this is an activity that might lead to gender dysphoria, perhaps.
Oh, I don't know if it has anything to do with that. I think it just has to do with people getting soft.
Yeah. Explain to me something. You would know more about this than I would. What the heck is pickle? Pickle. What is that? Pickle something? I just caught just a bit of it. Pickleball?
Pickleball?
Is
I
that
think
right?
pickleball's pretty old, right?
I did not know this. What the heck is that?
Let me look it up here. Pickleball.
Thank you very much.
Because isn't it like kind of like handball?
Well, now, I know highlight.
Wait, no. Pickleball is a paddle sport that combines a few different games.
Aha.
It's like a tiny court. It almost looks like tennis.
It is called pickleball, though, right?
Yeah, it is called pickleball.
Okay, and is it not a sphere? It's a odd-shaped thing?
No, it looks like a tennis court to me, just smaller.
Okay. I didn't know where they got the pickle part from. That's what I was curious about. Cause
maybe they hit a pickle or something, or use a pickle to hit it. Or
exactly.
I don't know.
I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I was thinking, okay, now I've played ping pong and, all that. It takes a round ball that bounces, and the guy on the other side, he, pops it back at you and all that. But I was thinking, so if they got this thing, it's like what, a pickle or whatever, you're supposed to hit it at somebody and then they run over there and get it. That's just another ridiculous thing, I think. But
no, from looking at this looks like an actual sport with like a wiffle ball and a little paddle and a net, and it looks like you're actually running around competing. But dancing around on your little horse witch broom is not a sport.
So true, Joey. So true. Thanks, man. I enjoy your show.
Thank you, Crawdad.
Hey, by the way, you did hear that Joe Biden finally got wind about the cocaine in the White House, right?
Yeah, finally.
Yeah. Well, he asked somebody, whispered in their ear, and they said, "No, Joe, it's not diet."
Those days, you used to remember the straight razor. You'd bang them on the curb, get them rusty, put them in a rain barrel, get them rusty.
You mean that guy said something like that?
Yeah, that guy. До свидания from Burisma. Bye.
Later, Crawdad. 272-9228. Guys, I'm by myself today, so, if you call in, be patient. Got to hit a break, though. Should have Michael Cohen on the other... I got to turn this off. This stupid kid prancing around like a little pony. Anyway, I shouldn't be so hard on the kid. He's probably got enough problems as is. 272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Bath Innovations of Alabama. And their Bath Innovations, we're running out of time here in the month of July, folks. And honestly, I don't know how many they have left, because they started the month of July with 10 vouchers that get you 25% off, not just some run-of-the-mill product. We're talking about a top-of-the-line walk-in bathtub. UL approved. It's called the Alexis. And this thing comes with all the bells and whistles. You're talking hydrotherapy jet massage, a total of 10 water jets massage the body, eliminating pain, causing lactic acid in the muscles, while helping to relieve body aches and inflammation. There's also air bubble therapy. 18 air spa jets release thousands of tiny bubbles, creating a gentle caressing massage, improving circulation. Also helps increase buoyancy in the tub, so it gives more relief to those muscles. It's like bathing in a champagne glass. Of course, there's aromatherapy. Selection of scents are available, which release neurochemicals in the brain that result in relaxation or invigoration, depending on the sense chosen. Color chromotherapy, the use of colored lights in water, improves one's mood, enhances relaxation. There's even ozone therapy and purification. So this thing does it all. Remarkable, anti-slip seat, safety bar railings. This is like something you'd find in a high-end spa, and you can have it in your home. And again, if you go get that voucher at Bath Innovations Alabama, you get 25% off. It's a huge chunk of money. 25% off this top-of-the-line Alexis walk-in bathtub system. To do that, you can always call Bath Innovations of Alabama at 271-2723. That's 271-2723. Or the best way to deal with them is stop by that showroom, 2331 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. And, of course, you can see everything they have to offer at bathinnovations.com. And be sure to tell Brad McDowell of the team there that Joey from News and Views sent you. Let's see who this is on line one before we hit the break. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, this is Sam calling from Pike County.
Hey, Sam.
And, hey, man, listen, I checked out your Twitter feed, and I think that looks pretty good, the video.
Appreciate it. Did you see that little kid prancing around like a pony?
No, I was monkeying with my phone, and I got the phone confused. I just had to restart it. But I heard what you were saying, and the first thing I thought of, you've heard of Quidditch, right? There's a whole thing.
Like the Harry Potter game?
Harry Potter. There's
people
running around. Yeah, man, they've got whole little tournaments and whatnot. So the hobby horse is not that far-fetched. I'm just saying.
What's the golden thing that you got to catch it to win the whole game?
Yeah.
Do you remember the name of that thing? I can't remember it.
No, man, no.
The Snitch?
I saw the movies.
The Snatch? I don't know.
Yeah. It's their thing. Okay, that's not. I'm not even gonna Google it.
Mommy, can we go to Harry Potter World and have butterbeer? Why am I sounding German?
I don't know, but a good book. I've been told. No. Now, doggone it. There was something went all the way back to first the show about. You talking about Twitter? Still hang with Twitter.
Twitter is now called X. Yeah.
Which is weird because I haven't seen that yet. I was just looking at the Webpage. I missed the X thing. I still see the little blue bird. But I follow Elon Musk, and I think some of his comedy is, you can tell he's a different person. But he was sitting up in watching Oppenheimer in the movie theater, and he tweeted out, the movie's too long, and so he's got his phone broke out, and he's on Twitter. I guess I don't know how he got a picture of it, but it's just funny. Him in the he thought the movie was too long.
I didn't. I thought it was about right.
I can't wait to see it. I know that's the kind of stuff that's right up my here you go, Joe. There's one of the little feathers in my hat. Back in the mid-'90s, I forget which year, I ran a survey crew around. I was all over White Sands, New Mexico, and I've been to the Trinity site. The little road that goes out past there, and I saw the stone pyre and whatnot, and and so they say, well, what's there? Hey, man, they blew up a bomb there, atomic bomb. There's nothing there.
Right.
But it's anyways, I just thought I'd touch base.
And apparently they didn't use any or much CGI. They wanted to keep everything practical effects, and I liked the effect it had. It practical seems realer. Yeah. You can tell. Even if CGI is great, and there are great CGI artists out there, it's not quite the same as those great practical effects where your eye actually goes, oh, that's real.
Oh, another thing, Red Top touched on this. One of the books in my collection, when the old library here in Troy was shutting down, and they got rid of a lot of the research department, I picked up a book, and it's about the atomic test that happened in America, and it detailed, America's had plenty of bombs blown up and radiation spread out across the Midwest, and it's, it slowly goes away, but it's persistent. That's the word I'm looking for. And I'm not going to go all off on that, but it's real as it gets.
Oh yeah.
The atomic bomb wasn't fake.
So did you go see the Barbie movie instead this weekend?
No, man. I spent the weekend in Montgomery. I spent it with Mom, took her shopping and whatnot, and it just it didn't make time for it.
Right, and I don't want you flirting with violating your probation, you know?
That's it. Okay, man. You know what'll happen. Here in Troy, we have a wonderful public library and good people. And one day I'll slip in there and I'll get that movie and I'll slip out and I won't tell anybody. And bring Barbie home. That's
well,
too funny.
Appreciate it, Sam.
Yeah. I hope you have a good week.
You too. 272-9228. We'll be right back, hopefully with Michael Cohen after this quick break.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Looking for insurance, or maybe you're just not satisfied with your current carrier? How does quality coverage with local service and competitive rates sound to you? The folks at Stark Agency offer just that. Whether you need insurance for your business, car, home, or life, Stark Agency can help. As an independent insurance agency with over 20 of the top insurance carriers, Stark is sure to find the perfect match for you and your loved ones. Visit their site at starkagency.com or give them a call at 334-263-5535 for a quote today.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
The River Region's first and only News Talk station on FM. Live, local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Now, as promised, we have on the line Michael Cohen of Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Michael, how are you this afternoon?
Hey, Joey. I'm great. How are y'all?
Doing quite well, even though I'm flying solo. Get back soon, big guy. Maybe I can lure Eddie back with like, hey, let's go do the massage chair remote at Cohen's.
Hey, that works for us.
There you go. I think you always got to sweeten the deal with that guy, whether it's massage or food or something. But anyway, you would think friendship would count for it. But let's talk about y'all's amazing service there at Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. I've experienced it myself. When I bought that big old honking TV, I was a little nervous about, how am I going to set this up myself? But I didn't have to because your guys, I believe it was Michael Jacks who put it together for me.
Well, I mean, we're really fortunate that we have an incredible guy that does our AV, which is Michael Jacks, and we have 4 appliance technicians that actually come to you to work on your refrigerator, your washer, your dryer. And that's the biggest thing that we have going for us. You call us at 277-8890 when you need service, as opposed to my friends across the street that you call the 1-800-WHO-CARES.
Yeah, and I think are the other, not to talk too bad about competitors, but it seems like, to me at least, the big box stores where they've cut back, it is that sort of service thing.
Well, in reality, they've never had service.
Well,
it's always been an outside servicer that works on the box stores units. So they've never had it, and customers just accept that they're selling a refrigerator, and I'm going to call 1-800-WHO-CARES when I need service.
And this is across the board, all your products there, especially washer, dryer, fridge, or TV, electronic, like audio system.
Yeah, and our TVs, like for Samsung, we do have to have Samsung involved because that's the way Samsung works. But for the most part, most of everything we can service here, or you call us and we'll get it serviced.
So folks need to get in touch with you with 277-8890, or I'm looking at thinkcohens.com. But I'd imagine the best way is to stop by. You're still there at the Boulevard?
That's right. We're here 9 to 6, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. The best thing, you can look at some electronics or some appliance porn on our website, and then you can actually come in and talk to us, and either me or one of my guys, we can help you make the right decision for whatever your needs are.
There you go. And I can speak to that personally. It's all true, folks. Well, I appreciate you, Michael.
Thank you, Joey. Have a great day.
You too. Again, that's Michael Cohen of Cohen's Electronics and Appliances, 277-8890, or just stop by that showroom, 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. And, of course, you can always go to thinkcohens.com. More news and views. Final hour, actually, on a Monday when we come back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has escalated measures to keep migrants from entering the U.S. The Republican is pushing legal boundaries along the border with Mexico to install razor wire, deploy massive buoys on the Rio Grande, and bulldoze border islands in the river. According to a new Gallup poll released earlier this month, an overwhelming majority of Americans say that the U.S.-Mexico border is either in a state of crisis or a major problem. Authorities searching for a grizzly bear that attacked and killed a woman on a trail west of Yellowstone National Park along the Montana-Idaho border. The city of Chicago experiencing another bloody and violent weekend. 6 people were fatally shot, 27 others wounded by gunfire. The Dow had 224 points and the NASDAQ up 41. This is SRN News.
Attention, your money is now controlled by the U.S. government.
Picture a world where your every purchase is monitored, tracked, and controlled by those in power to suppress the freedoms of those they see fit. Hi, my name is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer and New York Times bestselling author. And right now, I've become very focused on the impending rollout of the central bank digital currency. This is not a work of fiction. It's a terrifying reality looming on the horizon. But there is a bit of good news. I've partnered with Advantage Gold to offer you a solution. They are specialists in converting your traditional assets, like those inside an IRA or 401k, into tangible assets such as physical gold and silver. Don't allow your money to be controlled. Claim your free gold protection kit from Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000, 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor.
Call 800-900-8000.
Rich Thomas weather brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. Truckers, if you are looking for green grass, contact Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. In business since 1959 and still growing. Call today, 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We're starting off this week fairly routine. The temperature's not as excessive as last week. Today, with lots of sun, I think we're dry with a high temperature up to the low to mid-90s. Low tonight around 70. The humidity levels this week not too bad. I think we'll stay out of the triple-digit heat indices. Tuesday and Wednesday's high, maybe the middle 90s, but still dry. Then some widely scattered storms returning to the forecast on Thursday and Friday, but they will be few and far between. We'll be in the upper 90s by the end of the week. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
1819 News.
An appeal has been filed by the Muskogee Nation against the Porch Creek Band of Indians and Auburn University. The appeals lawsuit was filed within the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, which is based out of Atlanta. The Indian Tribal Nation is based out of Oklahoma and continue to claim that the Wind Creek Casino and Resort has been built on a sacred burial site that belonged to the Muskogee Indians before they were forced out of Alabama and into Oklahoma 200 years ago. The Muskogee Nation says that the Porch Creek tribe failed to meet its obligations to its ancestors by removing those buried bones and sending them to Auburn University for study and then building the casino on that land. A lower court threw out this case back in 2021. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Do you believe in the rights of parents to educate their children? If so, join 1819 News for an evening with author and political commentator James Lindsay on August 25th at Oak Mountain Brewing Company in Pelham, as he and other guests discuss how to stop the government's attempts to indoctrinate and control your children. Tickets are available for a limited time, so visit 1819news.com and click events. That's 1819news.com.
A Calera man is facing charges in Homewood for traveling there to meet a child for an unlawful sex act. 57-year-old Marvin Gentry became the subject of an undercover operation by Hoover Special Investigations Unit. Gentry works as a freelance photographer and has been hired to cover several athletic events throughout the state. A family in Saraland is offering a reward to find a missing man. James White has not been seen since March of 2022. He went missing after leaving his apartment building in Saraland. White's family is offering $2,000 for more information that leads to finding White. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Here we are, back in storm season in central Alabama again. We rely on our electricity for basic needs in our home. Refrigeration, air conditioning, communication, and if you have a medical condition that requires equipment, your life could depend on the power staying on. When power outages strike, a whole house generator could save you money and stress. Talk to Headley Plumbing today, 285-3667, or visit them online at headleyplumbing.com. A generator is a solid investment in your home, and Headley Plumbing can help. 285-3667 or headleyplumbing.com.
Headley Metal Buildings has been your source for quality metal buildings in the river region since 2007. Carports up to 24 feet wide, RV covers, storage buildings, even a sturdy metal barn up to 54 feet wide. Your structure can be customized, installed on level ground, and comes with a 20-year warranty. Let Headley Metal Buildings help you find the perfect solution. Financing available. Call 285-3667 for details or find Headley Metal Buildings on Facebook.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Now, in a moment, we're going to play a little bit of RFK Jr. on the media airwaves, as well as Vivek Ramaswamy continue to cover these two insurgent campaigns. If the rest of the national media is going to try to continue to talk up Tim Scott, fine. And continue to, well, downplay Ron DeSantis, fine. But I'm going to talk about the folks I like. And in particular, what I like about both RFK Jr. and Vivek Ramaswamy, and certainly Donald Trump's all about this, is taking on the so-called administrative state, taking on the so-called deep state, or the managerial ruling class, or ruling elite, however you want to put it. But I like folks that have that focus, because I think it covers all manner of sins that this government is constantly committing every day. But what's fascinating about, say, like blue-pilled folks is that they'll sit there and say, well, anybody who's proposing that the elites in this country actually use their power, you're just a damn dirty conspiracy theorist. But also stay in your place. We're running the show, especially when it comes to your entertainment and your news and what, well, the latest science is saying about you and yours. But let's give some examples. For instance, Jonathan Turley was pointing this out at a hearing last week, that weaponization hearing. In recent testimony before the House Judiciary Committee, Turley warned if Congress reauthorized Section 702 without major changes, we have become a nation of chumps. I think Turley's right. The FBI is once again before Congress after years of systemic and massive abuses of FISA, and only a nation of chumps would give them the same authority. With each renewal, the FBI has pledged that it has learned its lesson and would stop its abuses, only to continue to abuse the authority. Now, a FISA order indicates that the FBI searched the data of a U.S. senator, a state senator, and a judge. Notably, In his recent testimony, FBI Director Christopher Wray tried to blame his predecessor James Comey for the abuses, a claim that was recently undermined in the targeting of Republican staff members. Now it is equally clear that the abuses have continued on Director Wray's watch. FBI employees searched foreign surveillance data for the last names of a U.S. senator and a state senator. It also searched the Social Security number of a state judge who alleged civil rights violations by a municipal chief of police, according to the opinion by the chief judge of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court. The problem is that Wray has continued to refuse to answer the most basic questions about FISA abuses, including a baffling denial that he even knew what parallel construction means in his testimony before the committee this week. It was akin to the head of the CDC saying she did not know what gain-of-function research means. Parallel construction has long been a complaint of civil libertarians and defense counsel. It avoids poisonous tree problems by replanting the seeds of the evidence to claim independent acquisition. It hides the true origins of evidence from courts and, in some cases, Congress. While defendants are supposed to receive notice of 702 evidence, parallel construction can be used to evade that obligation. Yet Wray insists that he has no idea what that even means. The choice is ours, writes Jonathan Turley. We can be informed citizens or a nation of chumps. And just to lay it on my own terms, what parallel construction means, it means we're spying on somebody, using national security powers, using foreign intelligence surveillance authorities. We find out that somebody domestically, through our backdoor foreign surveillance, we find out that a domestic person, say a U.S. senator or judge or anybody else, we find that they're doing these crimes. And we're doing this, again, without a standard warrant that you should get, domestically speaking. And because we know we can't use this foreign surveillance information in court, what we're going to do is create a fishing story about how we found the evidence independent of our surveillance work. So you find the evidence at first using national security powers, then you go recreate a whole other story that, well, we found this in the normal course of our policing duties. Yeah, and this is just one example of many of how corrupt this administrative state has become. But that's not the only example. When you look at, say, Dr. Fauci and what Dr. Fauci and folks are all caught up in. And so, for instance, folks are saying you need to retract Nature Medicine, is the magazine in question, retract the proximal origin piece y'all put out. But the editor of Nature Medicine is, say, no, we're not going to get rid of it. The scientific paper, Proximal Origins of SARS-CoV-2, was commissioned by Anthony Fauci in order to debunk the lab leak theory of COVID's origins. It has been essentially debunked. By that, we don't mean its conclusions have been proven wrong, although by now we all have adequate reasons to believe they're likely wrong, but rather that the paper itself is a bunch of propaganda written at the behest of the government by pliable scientists who depended upon Fauci for funding. Fauci bucks. And who clearly did not believe what they were writing was true. They were engaged in self-conscious fraud. We now have contemporaneous Slack messages, the Slack messaging service, and emails where the authors of this paper not only expressed doubts that what they were writing was true, but that proved they thought that the claim that they were making, that COVID arose naturally without human interference and that it spread from an animal to a human being via natural processes, was likely not true. For instance, the highest profile author of the paper, Christian Anderson, not the children's author, wrote this to a colleague during the editing of the paper. Quote, Anderson wrote, "The main issue is that accidental release is in fact highly likely. It's not some fringe theory. I absolutely agree that we can't prove one way or the other, but we never will be able to. However, that doesn't mean that by default the data is currently much more suggestive of a natural origin as opposed to, for example, passage. It is not. The furin cleavage site is very hard to explain, referring to a feature of the virus that concerned the scientist at the time." Here are some of the things the scientists were saying to each other as they wrote a paper that purported to prove a lab leak was unlikely. and gain of function had nothing to do with COVID origins. And again, we've got them dead to right, folks. They were making all this stuff up in order to push a certain narrative at the behest of Dr. Fauci. So you can see there on the screen if you're watching this on the live stream. And again, live streaming on my Facebook page, News Talk's Facebook page, my Twitter page, @TheJoeyClark, as well as YouTube. Just search Joey Clark Live, and you should be able to find that on the YouTube. And so Dr. Christian Anderson said, quote, "The lab escape version of this is so frickin' likely to have happened because they were already doing this type of work, and the molecular data is fully consistent with that scenario. The main issue is that accidental escape is in fact highly likely. It's not some fringe theory." Dr. Andrew Rumball, or whatever, I'm terrible with names, quote, "Given the crap show that would have happened if anyone serious accused the Chinese of ever accidental release, we cannot possibly distinguish between natural evolution and escape, so we are content with ascribing it to natural processes." Wait, because the Chinese government would get upset. Because it would be a, what's the word, a show. We can't say it might have been a lab leak. Dr. Ian Lipkin, "I am concerned that scientists at the Wuhan Institute of Virology did not make adequate precautions when growing bat viruses. There is still the possibility of inadvertent release following adaptation through selection in culture and at the Institute in Wuhan." Dr. Edward Holmes, "No way selection could occur in the market. Too low a density of mammals. Really just small groups of 3 to 4 in cases." Ian Lipkin just called, very worried about the furin cleavage site, and says that high-ups are too, including Intel. Dr. Robert Gary, "Transmitting a bat virus like rat G13 and helicells," whatever that means, and then asking your graduate student to insert a furin site will get you there. It's not crackpot to suggest this could have happened given the gain-of-function research we know is happening. I'm thinking mostly about the PRR to generate the furin site. Again, all Greek to me, folks. Relatively easy to drop 12 bases in. The proline is the hang-up. Essentially what I'm taking from this is this guy knew how they would have engineered this, that's not that crazy. So we now have information after information after information, and you have the guy who's long been a darling of the establishment because he's a great numbers guy. Nate Silver is even saying the proximal origins authors didn't believe what they wrote in their own paper. They engaged in a sustained effort to deceive the public. The evidence for this is clear and robust. They even had a gallows humor about it because what they were doing was so damn obvious. Remarkable, folks. And yet this scientific publication is refusing to retract this because it'll hurt their reputation or something. And if you remember back how they were saying, Tom Cotton was one of the first people to push this, and he was probably going off of what Intel said. But given that we have these internal communications now, it's very clear these folks lied about this. To some degree because they were worried about China's reaction and the crap show it would cause. It's just absurd, the place we're at in this country right now. Absolutely absurd. So that's just a few examples when it comes to public health, when it comes to the FBI and foreign surveillance abuses. And yet so many folks go, it's just a conspiracy theory. We can continue to add. Go look at IG reports. Whether you're talking about the NSA, the FBI, the CIA, go look at how much the FDA, for instance, has been captured by the very pharmaceutical companies they're supposed to be regulating. Don't get me started on the revolving door between the banking system and the folks that are supposedly regulating the banking system. And it's across the board like this. It's an incredibly corrupt and corrupting influence that is running this country and largely the world at this point. And that's why I love hearing from folks like RFK Jr. and like Vivek Ramaswamy. Oh, and did I mention that I also include in that corruption of the administrative state a lot of what the Pentagon does? Way too top-heavy, way too bloated. You could say the Pentagon, despite all the members of our great military giving their time and sacrificing to serve and keep the country safe and secure, despite all that, you could say the Pentagon at least their top brass, they seem constipated even, if not on the verge of a heart attack. This is not a good place to be. Yet so many folks want to do the usual Democrat, Republican, all this different stuff. In a second, I'm going to play some of these insurgent campaigns from RFK Jr. to Vivek Ramaswamy, and then I might throw in as just like a cherry on top, why Chris Christie sucks. We'll get to that in just a second. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the program. Is part of News and Views brought to you by, well, River Region Contracting. And there at River Region Contracting, Todd Clark and his team, well, they can help you with that roof of yours. It would be a metal roof or an asphalt roof. Could be had it inspected just last year, but recent storms have you nervous about, well, is the roof actually secured? Or it could be it's been years since you've had that roof inspected. You should have it inspected every 3 to 5 years for basic preventative maintenance. It's when you let those problems fester over the years, that's when your insurance company's going to fight you. That's where they're going to say, hey, I don't want to, you kind of let this happen. This isn't just some accident that you're covered for. So here's the deal. Call up River Region Contracting today at 356-8635. And here's the great news. Their inspections and their estimates, if they find a problem, free. Inspections and estimates always free. They're at River Region Contracting. And they're a team of insurance specialists, so they can walk you through that claims process. You've got folks on your side fighting for you to win that claim with your insurance company. They can make it a swift and easy experience. So again, that number, 356-8635. That's 356-8635. And be sure to tell them, well, you heard about them here on News and Views in the afternoon. Let's go to line one, he said. Well, okay, let's not. Let's go to a break. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Picture this. A serene, tranquil resting place surrounded by nature's beauty. A place where memories are cherished and loved ones are forever remembered. We're talking about your final resting place, and it's never too early to start planning for it. Pineview Memorial Gardens in Wetumpka has been family-owned and operated for over 55 years. We understand the importance of pre-need planning. You can make decisions that reflect your personal wishes. You can choose the perfect location, whether it's a serene garden, a peaceful mausoleum, or a place in our cremation wall. Pre-need planning alleviates the burden from your loved ones during a time of grief. By planning ahead, you can secure today's prices, protecting yourself and your family from future cost increases. So why wait? Contact Pineview Memorial Gardens in Wetumpka today. Your final resting place should be a reflection of your unique journey. Take control of your future and make pre-need planning a priority. Pineview Memorial Gardens in Wetumpka, where memories live on.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For years, I've been asking you to call me at Alabama Home Mortgage because there is a difference in mortgage companies. Did you know the current national average turn time to close on a mortgage is 48 business days? But not at Alabama Home Mortgage. At Alabama Home Mortgage, our average close time is 16 business days. That's a month faster than the rest. How do we do it? With over 60 years of combined experience in the industry. Our team knows mortgages. Our years of experience yield a better experience for our customers. Folks, time is money. Whether you're looking to buy or refi, don't waste time with another mortgage company, bank, or credit union. We close on time, every time. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Our fast turn time is just one difference that sets us apart from the rest. It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 158636-8, Equal Housing Lender.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
The Health and Wealth Show. The Health and Wealth Show. The show so nice, we said it twice. Weekday evenings at 6 on News Talk 93.1 WACV. The Health.
Break it up, son. Joke's over, hey?
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Live, local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back. Now let's go right to RFK Jr. He was on Fox News, I believe, over the weekend. And, he said part of his mission is unraveling the war machine, the national security state abroad. And one thing I've been saying to my conservative friends who are a little more hawkish, and I do think we need a robust defense, you need a military, second to none. I just think we are overstretched. And we have a lack of mission in particular. There are literally too many cooks in the kitchen, way too many flag officers, way too many generals. It's not good when your generals and your top brass are essentially politicians and propagandists, and it shows in our performance so often. But I've long been saying to my conservative friends who are a little more hawkish that do you really think these sorts of policies, the surveillance, the information warfare, things like color revolution, these sorts of tactics won't be brought back home? Because remember, after January 6th, it wasn't Al-Qaeda, it wasn't ISIS or even ISIS-K they were complaining about. They're saying we got to start, protecting the homeland from all these terrorists, including libertarians. All these anti-government people, they're just wacky and radical. Of course it comes home. It always does. This idea that you can have a huge, big government project that we can rebuild entire nations and mold them to our 2023 values in the so-called progressive West, it was always absurd. Though plenty of people made plenty of money off of it, though sadly the nation as a whole did not. So let's listen in. This is RFK Jr., sitting down, I believe, with Maria Bartoloma or something like that. Let's listen in together.
Democrat presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Mr. Kennedy, it's great to have you this morning.
Very, very good to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. So what went on in that hearing? Censorship has been an issue for several years now. We talk about it every day on this program and on my program on Fox Business. What should be done about it? What can you do to stop it?
This should not be a partisan, this needs to be bipartisan, and the Democratic Party has always fought very hard. My father, my uncle, and throughout its history, the word liberal means freedom and applies specifically to freedom of speech. But we can't have a democracy if we don't have freedom of speech. It is the cornerstone of our democracy. That's why the framers put it in the First Amendment. It is, as I said, it's the sunlight, it's the water, it's the soil of democracy. Without free speech, democracy will wither and die. And everybody knows that. We've been warned about that by George Orwell, Aldous Huxley, Alexander Solzhenitsyn, Kessler, Heinlein, everybody knows.
Václav Havel?
It's the beginning of totalitarianism.
The people who censor speech, when we look back in history, they're never the good guys. And it's inevitable that if you do start censoring speech, because government abuses every power that it's given, and if government suddenly has the capacity to censor its critics, it has a license for any atrocity.
So you've thought about this a lot, and you said, in the hearing that this is the beginning of totalitarianism. I want to know what you can do about it. You've thought about this. So, they've censored, COVID information, Russia collusion information. The Trump administration dealt with it every day.
Here, and I'm going to pause there because I want to know what he's going to do about it. But this is an example of the powers that we used abroad coming home and being more for you, citizen, than anybody they claim to be defending you from. Because this need of getting rid of disinformation or misinformation or, God forbid, malinformation, you know where it started? Well, we can't let ISIS and Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula recruit online. And I think your average person goes, you know what, you're right. We can't let these yahoos use the internet and social media or even Xbox chat rooms or PlayStation 5 chat rooms to advance their interests. So we got to go after them. But it doesn't stop at Al-Qaeda. It doesn't stop at ISIS or ISIS-K. They've now extended it out to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said something true, but dumb people are going to take it the wrong way. Not the same thing by any means, but as soon as you give a government this sort of power, they're going to use it. And they're going to use it against you. And you might always think, oh, I'll be on the right side of history. I'll be on the right side of this government. No, when you give up free speech, you need to understand and you need to make the bet that the worst possible people will take over that government. He is right. This is the road to totalitarianism. If you think your side's always going to be the ones with the power, you're in for a rude awakening. Freedom works if you let it.
The media and the way government works with Twitter to try to suppress truth and amplify lies. What is your plan to change it?
I mean, the alarming thing that's come out in Judge Doty's decision, this is a federal district judge, just issued a 155-page decision forbidding the White House from having any contact with social media companies because it abused those contacts so badly over the past 3 years. What we now know is that the White House had deployed an army of federal agencies, including the CIA, the FBI, the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, the IRS, and many others, to threaten Facebook, Google, and Twitter with withdrawing their Section 230 immunity, which is an existential threat. Those companies cannot exist without that immunity, and they were told that if they did not censor the president's opponents, critics of these policies, that they would lose that immunity.
Unbelievable. Well, I mean, there is this network in place. I mean, Trump calls it the swamp. Others call it, just this network of establishment that is hard to get around. I've seen your comments about the CIA and the assassination of your uncle and father, that they were involved. How do you get and break this enormous network?
Well, you have to. I mean, you have to do it agency by agency because the fulcrum of the corruption of this corrupt merger of state and corporate power is happening within the agencies, and each of those agencies have different issues of the agency cap that have promoted and prompted the capture of those agencies by the industries they're supposed to regulate. With the intelligence agencies, in many of them, although not all of them, are now serving the purpose of enriching the military-industrial complex and expanding its power for some military contractors. My uncle recognized this, that the function of the CIA had devolved into providing the military-industrial complex with a constant pipeline of new wars in order to enrich military contractors and expand the power of the intelligence apparatus.
Unbelievable. Look, you have this platform this morning. Yes, please, go ahead. I want you to tell us why do you believe you're the guy to be in charge in 2025? What's your platform?
Well, my platform is, my primary platform is unraveling the war machine, the national security state abroad, sorry, which is bankrupting our country, which is destroying the middle class in our country. And then the ultimate objective is to protect democracy, restore the American middle class. You can't afford to be poor in this country anymore, and you can't afford to be a working person. just since the lockdowns, the price of housing has gone from $250,000 to $400,000 per home.
Yeah, I mean, inflation is everywhere. You're right.
Well, and I'm going to stop it there because we got to hit a break. But they can call this guy all the names they want. And maybe he doesn't ever get off the ground. Maybe the megaphone or the water hose still possessed by, say, establishment interest in the Democrat and Republican Party in this country. Maybe they still are that effective, sadly. But, again, I'm looking forward to voting for RFK Jr., despite all the stuff they say about him, on Super Tuesday here in the great state of Alabama. And I would hope that if you're somebody who hasn't voted in a long time, if ever, because you are disgusted by the political process, and you have every right to be. If you're disgusted by the fact that they abuse the King's English, not to communicate, but to manipulate people, to make emotional appeals to people, get them all worked up, upset. You're tired of the fake kayfabe, WWE style politics between Republicans and Democrats. Oh, Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer, they really hate each other, don't they? Yeah, sure they do. Tired of that? Consider RFK Jr. And I know there are a lot of folks where, when it came to Donald John Trump, it's exactly how they felt, and they finally found their champion in Trump. And looking at what I'm looking at, folks, I don't care about all the court cases. Trump's going to be the nominee for the Republicans. As much as I'm loving rising stars within the party, like a Vivek Ramaswamy. But they can smear him, they can say whatever they want about RFK Jr., but the best way to shut them up is to go vote for that man in the primaries, at least to send somewhat of a wake-up call to the establishment. Will we succeed? I don't know. But it's not impossible that we might. 272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by New Look Decorating Center. And, of course, at New Look Decorating Center, you got to stop by that showroom right here in Montgomery, 6237 Atlanta Highway, right where Bell Road dead ends to Atlanta Highway. You'll see it there in all its glory. Benjamin Moore's New Look Decorating Center. Stop by and say hi to the manager, Brett Lanham, or go see Katie. She's a paint specialist, and also Katie at New Look is, well, there for all your wallpaper and fabric needs. New Look is the River Region's home for Tebow wallpaper and fabric. So Katie is the person to go see if you're thinking about wallpaper, folks. And, of course, they can help you with paint selection, stain selection, whether you're doing it yourself or contracting out the job, and they can give you tips and tricks so you do it yourself the right way the first time. Or if you are contracting out that job, why not stop by New Look Decorating first and be like, who do you recommend? I want to restain a big deck in my backyard, or I want to repaint the whole exterior of my home. I want to just give it a fresh new look. Well, New Look Decorating can help you in that regard. They've been serving Montgomery and the surrounding river region for 40-plus years. 40 years in business, folks. A great local institution. And when you buy at New Look Decorating, you're not just supporting the local economy here in the river region, you're also supporting the larger Alabama economy. One of Benjamin Moore's largest plants is right here in Pell City, Alabama. So check them out today. That's New Look Decorating Center, 271-0007. That's 271-0007. Or you can always go to newlookdecoratingcenter.com. But again, really encourage you to stop by their showroom right where Bell Road dead ends to Atlanta Highway. And be sure to tell Brett and the entire team there at New Look Decorating that Joey from News and Views sent you. More News and Views after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Do you have a cell phone or tablet that isn't charging, dying fast, or maybe the screen is damaged? Don't get suckered into buying a new one. XI Repair can fix your current device same day and in under 30 minutes. Their certified technicians fix and recover data from thousands of cell phones, computers, tablets, game consoles, and drones 7 days a week. Give them a call today at 334-777-1234 or visit them online at xirepair.com.
Finally, the Toyota store that gives you more. The all-new Toyota of Montgomery is here with all-new management, all-new team, and all-new great attitude. Get more from your Toyota store. Over 400 new Toyotas are coming in hot and filling up our lot. Get your favorite new Toyota model, like the 2023 Toyota Camry, Corolla, RAV4, Highlander, Tacoma, Tundra, and more. All with our lowest grand opening prices and biggest grand opening savings right now. And come see how our new team is committed to serve Montgomery and give you the best service in the River region. And we'll always pay you more money for your trade-in. Find out how much and schedule an appraisal online at ToyotaMontgomery.com. You get more. You save more. A lot more. Get your new Toyota today before someone else does. And discover the all-new way to buy a Toyota at Toyota Montgomery. Shop online at ToyotaMontgomery.com.
Men, if you're having issues with erectile dysfunction or feel like your energy level or sex drive is down, maybe you're looking for a boost in the gym or the bedroom, give Montgomery Men's Health a call at 334-440-3663. Get your testosterone tested and get back in the game. That's MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com.
Hey, this is Benji with Marguerite's. The great thing about gold and diamonds is that we can make a ring that you have wore for 20 years look like the day you bought it. For example, if you have a white gold ring or rings that you have worn for some years, you can take it to a jewelry store and they will charge $150 to $250 to re-rhodium, polish, and clean your rings to get that look. You ask, what is rhodium? Rhodium is a very expensive, precious metal that jewelers use to coat white gold rings to make them extremely light, of course, to make them look brand new again. Marguerite's has decided to brighten your summer with the complimentary rhodium and polish of your rings. As of today until August the 5th, August the 5th will be here before you know it. Bring in all your rings at Marguerite's. We will rhodium them at no charge whatsoever. So don't miss out on this great deal because at Marguerite's, of course, we make it. We really make it. We're open 7 days a week for your convenience for all your jewelry needs. We are located at 8163 Vaughn Road in the Perpetuity Shopping Center. So come see us at Marguerite's. Let us make all your rings look like the day you bought them.
Visit Marguerite's now through August 5th for your complimentary rhodium and polish.
Hi, I'm Ashley Smith, owner of Rick's Jewelers. The results we saw after a few weeks running on Blue Water Broadcasting were phenomenal. Our sales rep was easy to work with, and we have been pleased with how helpful the entire team has been. We will continue to run our campaigns across the Blue Water family of stations, especially as we gear up for our busiest time of year.
Our advertisers are our biggest advocates. Call us to find out how radio can increase your bottom line. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks, helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Rich Thomas weather brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. Truckers, if you are looking for green grass, contact Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. In business since 1959 and still growing. Call today, 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We're starting off this week fairly routine. The temperature's not as excessive as last week. Today, with lots of sun, I think we're dry with a high temperature up to the low to mid-90s. Low tonight around 70. The humidity levels this week not too bad. I think we'll stay out of the triple-digit heat indices. Tuesday and Wednesday's high, maybe the middle 90s, but still dry. Then some widely scattered storms returning to the forecast on Thursday and Friday, but they will be few and far between. We'll be in the upper 90s by the end of the week. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
At ASE Credit Union, financing your next adventure is easier than ever with rates as low as 5.25%. Apply online or visit your local branch today. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
ASE Credit Union, your life, your goals, your ASE.
The River Region's News Talk Station. News Talk 93.1, WACV. News Talk 93.1.
How you conduct yourself in a democracy?
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Almost about to close out the show, about 15 shopping minutes left. Again, folks, if you're out there just listening on the radio, we're now doing a live stream. It's on my Facebook page. Just search for Joey Clark wearing a hat like I'm wearing now. Looks like I'm a taxi cab driver or a golfer or something. But you can also find it on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV's Facebook page, as well as my Twitter at the Joey Clark. And then you can always search YouTube for Joey Clark Live. Just getting this going, work in progress, but a fun project as we head into this election year. And things continue to heat up before the first big debate. Yes, they're going to have such a huge, big debate. So let's switch gears away from RFK Jr., who's running as a Democrat, and go to the other rising insurgent campaign, Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, Vivek, he was on Fox News Sunday with Shannon Bream. Let's listen in together here. She asked the first question about, well, you're only at 6% in Iowa. How do you think you're doing?
There you are in 6th place, 45 points behind President Trump, single digits. Rival campaigns say that these early states show that you can't really take off, that you're not connecting with people. One of the rival campaigns gives this quote: Vivek is like the fajitas that go by you at the restaurant. They make noise, look exciting, and come on the fun plate. But if you order it, it's too much, too annoying to assemble, and you wish you had just ordered tacos.
Okay, before Vivek responds to that, I never want to go to a Mexican restaurant with a person like that. Well, the fajitas smelled and looked good, but when I ordered them myself, that's just too much food. Okay, Karen. Anyway, go ahead, Vivek.
The article goes on to quote another rival campaign saying that you've barely raised any money outside what you've given to yourself. They don't think you have a long-term play, do you?
Absolutely, Shannon. We are on the rise to win this election, and I am the one candidate in this race who's actually leading us to something, to our vision of what it means to be an American. That is resonating with voters across the country. I began in March at 0.0% in the polls. Look at the national polling averages now. I'm consistently polling at 3rd nationally, and that's ahead of even the first debate, when many people in this country haven't yet gotten to know who I am.
True.
So I think we're on the same trajectory or ahead of where Donald Trump was in 2015. I'm nationally polling ahead of a former vice president and numerous governors and U.S. senators. And I think we're just getting warmed up as the grassroots across this country are absolutely responding to our message. And on the fundraising side, Shannon, I'll tell you this. One thing that is different about me is that I'm not a super PAC puppet. You're right that a lot of the other candidates have advertisements already spreading across TV funded by their super PACs. What's lifting us up is the small dollar donors. We're approaching 70,000 unique small dollar donors that have lifted this campaign up, in addition to the large, sizable personal investments that I've made. And my whole point is we don't want a super PAC puppet. We want an independent voice and a patriot who actually speaks the truth. That's what I'm bringing to the race.
Okay, let's talk about President Trump, because there's been a lot of criticism that you're not taking direct shots at him, that you're not actually running against him.
Okay, that's where I also have to stop it. What is it with the damn corporate media? It's like, here's a knife. Go stab Trump with it. Start a fight. What if he doesn't want to run a campaign that way? Same thing with RFK Jr. Everybody's trying to, well, why don't you attack Donald Trump? It's like, no, I think y'all are doing that enough in the corporate press, attacking Donald Trump. I think there's enough people. Chris Christie is enough man for everybody attacking Donald Trump. So, Vivek, if you want to win, you got to attack him. Why? Why is that the conventional wisdom? Because I don't think it's going to work. I think Vivek's got the right idea, but let's let him answer.
You've talked about that you think that you could possibly pardon him should you have become president. He's potentially facing another round of federal charges in connection with January 6th. Here's some of what you said just a week after that actually happened in real time, one of your tweets. You said, what Trump did last week was wrong, downright abhorrent, plain and simple. You've referred to the disgraceful Capitol riot and Trump's egregious behavior. In one of your books, you went on to say that he lost, then wrongfully claimed he didn't lose the election, that it was stolen, and then raised millions of dollars off of his supporters. So why are you and the other candidates now so quick to defend him? Are you worried about the punchback you would take for him if you're actually critical of that behavior now?
To the contrary, Shannon, I've been consistent all along that I would have made different judgments than Donald Trump made. That is why I am running in this race for the presidency, the same race that he's in, because I would have made different and I believe better judgments for the country. But a bad judgment is not the same thing as a crime. And when we conflate the two, that sets a dangerous precedent for this country. I don't want to see us become some banana republic where the party in power uses police force to arrest its political opponents. Now that I'm third in the national polls, self-interestedly, it would be much easier for me to win this election if Trump were not the front runner, if Trump were eliminated by the federal administrative police state. But that's not the right thing for the country. To my critics, Shannon, I think they're right about one thing. I am not running against anyone in this race. I'm not running against my fellow GOP primary contenders. I'm not even strictly running against Biden. I am running for this country. And I think that's something we've long missed in our conservative movement. Too long we have been running from something. I am leading us to something. But the reality, to our vision of what it means to be American. I think that'll be successful.
The reality of a primary is that you do have to convince people to pick you over these other candidates. So we'll see. I know that you're feeling confident about making the debate stage, but that's where some of these dust-ups are going to happen as you guys try to differentiate from each other. I want to talk about foreign policy. You've made a lot of headlines there, but let's start with China. Here's what former President Trump said about President Xi just days ago.
But think of President Xi, central casting, brilliant guy. You know, when I say he's brilliant, everyone says, oh, that's terrible. You call him. Well, he runs 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. Smart, brilliant, everything perfect. There's nobody in Hollywood like this guy.
Okay, just seeing Trump there compared to Vivek, or Trump compared to anybody, it's going to be hard to beat. Smart guy, he runs 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. Smart. Let's keep going.
You've talked about the enormous threat you think China is, especially coupled with Russia. But that description of him as brilliant and an iron fist, I mean, this is a man that most of the world considers a dictator.
Dictators can be brilliant! How is that a contradiction whatsoever? Stop finding contradictions where none exist. Yeah, because, like, every dictator is just a big dum-dum. Because they're evil. If you're evil, if you're morally wrong, you can't be smart. Say a lot of smart people who don't know how to look in the mirror. Let's listen to Vivek.
How would you describe President Xi like President Trump does?
Xi Jinping is a dictator, and China is the top threat that the United States faces. I think I'm the clearest candidate, Shannon, in offering a clear path to declaring economic independence from China. That's the first step in our policies. If that had been a Russian spy balloon flying over half this country, we would have shot it down immediately and ratcheted up sanctions. The reason we didn't do it for the Chinese spy balloon is that fundamentally we're afraid of our own economic dependence on them. So I've offered a clear plan. I would re-enter trade relationships elsewhere in the Pacific. That is different from Trump's strategy, and that would put me in a position to lead our declaration of independence from China. I've also said that I would end the Ukraine war on terms that require Putin to exit his military alliance with Xi Jinping. That Russia-China alliance is a military threat, and I've offered a clear path of how to pull them apart. You're right, I have qualified for the debate stage, and this is one of the areas where I'm different from every one of the other candidates in the field. And I think it is good for us to have this debate about national security. This is what affects American interests. China's the top threat, and I see my foreign policy through that lens.
Vivek Ramaswamy. This first debate is going to be quite something, folks. I think it's going to be fascinating to watch, especially if Trump doesn't show up. It's going to be interesting to see what his actual absence, what room that might give to others. And if he does show up, well, Katie bar the door, something like that. Got to hit this quick break. Hopefully have Ray Bowles on the other side. More news and views in the afternoon after this.
Not know whether he's coming or going. But whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Hey, Mike. I heard you're traveling to Washington next week. Sounds like a fun trip. Why the frown on your face?
Well, it's gonna take me 2 days to get to and from D.C. for a meeting that will last less than an hour. And because of that, I'm going to miss my son's baseball game.
Have you heard? The Montgomery Airport now has direct nonstop flights to Washington, D.C. You fly out the day before your meeting and be back in Montgomery the next day, all in time to catch the evening ball game.
That's a win then. I'll be flying MGM.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Live local talk. The River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Let's bring on Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
Well, like I said, I'm tired.
Yeah.
Really, really tired. This was the first time in my life and the last time in my life that I would do a red eye. And I know what they mean by red eye now. We left Alaska last night at 8 o'clock, got in at 6 o'clock Atlanta time, which was a 7-hour flight. Well, maybe 4 hours of sleep if I'm lucky.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I feel for people that travel for a living. Ooh, I wouldn't want to do that for nothing.
Yeah, sleep and being sleep deprived, that's a certain type of tired you just can't shake. No matter how much caffeine you drink, it probably makes it worse.
It does. But I tell you what, I can check it off the box. I went and I saw Ron. He doesn't have to whine at me anymore about me not coming up in there and seeing. I'll never do that again. Man, Alaska's a different breed.
But did you at least have some fun?
Oh, no. Everything that we did went wrong.
Oh, no.
Everything. Like, he wanted to go see the iceberg. So he loads his boat up, and we go to Wasilla is the name. And we go out 2 hours as fast as we can to see the iceberg. Beautiful. Absolutely stunning. There were seals on the ice floating. Turn around, start leaving. The tide had gone out. He hits a rock and breaks the prop.
Oh.
5 hours to get back.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't even have a joke to follow that up. That's awful.
Well, the first day he says, hey, let's go to Denali and go camping. Great.
Right.
We show up, and every mosquito in the country is out there.
You just can't catch
no
a
big
break.
Deal. I've got a thermostat. We ended up putting the thermostat on the fire, and they just went 10 feet and made a plan and came right back.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, so this stuff we'll remember forever. And he did tell me, he said, Ray, I have to say, I never heard Sailor, as a 16-year-old girl, complain one time. And she overheard the conversation, and Sailor piped in. She said, wasn't going to help us.
You raised her right, man. Well, so it sounds like you're happy to be back selling carpet here in the
I
area.
am so happy, and I have not stopped. I'm running out to Mom to get the dog, and I'm running right back to the store. If y'all need a floor, call us today, 285-8117. Come out and get a free measurement, and next thing you know, you got a floor down. Just that simple.
Again, folks, that number for Prattville Carpet, 285-8117. And be sure to tell them that you heard Ray Bowles' Tired Ray here on the radio. Appreciate you.
Guys, have a great day.
You too. Well, that does it for me today, folks. Y'all stay tuned. Happy Hour with Greg Budell. Well, he's next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy,